This is a Tape Deck podcast.
Hello and welcome back to We'll Run For. This is your host Tom, and with me as always are Erin.
Hello.
Michael.
Hello.
And Diana.
Hi.
How's it going, everyone?
Look at that. We're back to our normal intro. Weird.
It's been, when was the last time we even did this?
November.
Yeah, maybe
The end of November, beginning of December?
It's been a while.
Maybe. Yeah.
Man, a lot has happened.
We've been filling in with the openings. They've not been as good.
Michael and I fail miserably at being Tom.
Look, it's fine. We just have a brand to uphold, and an obvious competition from other far superior podcasts. So we need to make sure that we're bringing something to the table, because they're charging. I hear they're charging good money for photos now.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's surprising. It's shocking. I was shocked.
It's like
appalled. Were you appalled?
I was appalled.
Were you shocked and
appalled?
And appalled.
And you know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
I've been at least holding up my end of the bargain with some Ben Franklin quotes.
That's true. That is true. You have.
Well, it's important. So
yeah,
we're back.
I don't know what we can't even begin to try and catch up on the last month because we have too much other stuff to talk about with Marathon Weekend.
Yeah, I feel like this is the finale of last year. This one, and how many of us are sick?
Oh God, the Disney crud is real.
Crud. It's here.
Yeah.
I've been like mainlining Mucinex, like the Mucinex D,
Yes,
like the behind the counter.
me.
I'm like, give it to me.
Oh boy. I don't know. Well, yeah, what else has been happening?
Oh, I
What did we
finished
do?
off my 100,000 feet of climbing.
yes, you did.
Oh yeah, cool.
Congratulations there.
Did that.
We had the listener centric episode that was really fun,
Yep,
where we
that
got
was
to listen
good.
to everyone
That was fun.
tell us what they did last year. A couple holiday traditions were thrown in
Oh,
there.
yeah. I really like
that was
that.
a good one.
That was
Yeah,
super nice.
I always like those.
I also,
so
and you
we-
guys know I don't listen, but I did listen to the episode, like the live episode that you guys recorded while we were down at Marathon Weekend. With everyone, and it sounded so good. Like Tom and I were listening to it like in the hotel room while we were getting ready to go into the parks one day after. So yeah, that thing sounded amazing.
Yeah, that was super fun to do. I mean, we first time doing it. I failed a couple times to.
We had a few mishaps, but yeah.
Apparently, I hit the unhit the record button at one point when I was interviewing Shailene, so she was completely cut out of that recording.
Poor Shailene lost her audio the morning of the race while being interviewed on the screen, and then we misrecorded her talking to her.
Aww.
We saw her at the
Expo.
No, we saw her at the after party in Magic Kingdom too. They were taking medal pictures.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And we were talking about it. She's like, "It's funny. It just means that I'm not meant to be heard."
Oh,
No.
man.
Yeah, it was the first time we were using it. We had a couple mishaps, but overall, I thought it sounded really good, and it was fun to do.
I was actually shocked because while you were doing this stuff, I was like, this is all going to sound like garbage. Like, none of this is going to work. Because while you were recording, people were like screaming in the background, and it's so noisy, and they sounded great. So I was like, that's amazing.
It picks up everybody pretty well. You get the background noise for the ambiance or whatever, but yeah.
Also, I had no idea what I was talking about half the time. I'm like interviewing people. I never interview people. I don't even
people
know.
People were like, what's happening? Like, because you would just start talking to them and then pull out this microphone. Like, they weren't like able to like gather thoughts or like anything. You just were like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Let's just do this. No preparation. Let's just do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So be on the lookout at different events.
That's fun. We can take it around.
I'll be at Princess Weekend. Maybe I'll do a couple there. We'll see.
Yeah, fun.
I guess we should just start with a little bit of a programming note. So this is our Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend recap, but we also requested feedback either written or like voice memos, and we got a ton of that. So this will be a bit of a two-parter. We're gonna do.
This will be ours.
This is our review of it, and then the next one will be all of the listener feedback, which is a lot.
Yes, and thank you guys because you're saving us from having to think about another topic for another couple of weeks.
This is true. Yeah, this is fair. Yeah. Look, it's January. Like, we can't think anything yet.
Nope.
Yeah.
February, we'll be starting to roll into races in the spring.
Yep.
Right now,
That's
we're
true.
like recovery mode.
Also, we're all miserable because we're back in the cold and the dark and
back at work and everything else.
Yeah. So this gives us a little bit of a reprieve.
Michael,
do
we have any new 5-star reviews?
I don't believe so. But maybe after this episode, when people listen, they'll be like, wow, I need to give that a 5-star review. So if you do, that would be fantastic. And Tom, are you guys still going to run 5 miles?
Yeah. Yes. Well, yeah, I have to run. Like
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm literally not doing anything right now. I've fallen off a cliff onto the couch, and
I feel like taking a week off is totally fair.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
I think even taking from Dopey, I think taking a couple weeks off is like that
was a lot of training.
Yeah, I mean, maybe go for some walks, but not but to keep your legs kind of like and the blood flowing. But the actual like running part of your life, I feel like you can take a little bit of a downtime.
So I don't know if this is true, but in a bunch of the Run Disney groups, which just they have been beautiful the last couple of weeks. Let me tell you,
as always,
have been.
Sure.
I just love it, just the drama and the same 9 questions over and over again. But someone, and I saw this a couple of times. Someone said, for these long distances, for every mile you run, you should take a day off. So like for running the marathon,
I thought it was every 10 miles.
You should take 26 days off. I was like, that doesn't sound right. But I saw it like 5 times. I was like, this seems wrong.
You're supposed to take 48 days off.
Wow.
They were like,
Tom, don't start running till April.
They were like,
it's science.
For Dopey, because you did it all back to back, just do like the furthest distance. So take 26 days off. I was like, all right. Like it seems.
No,
it seems a lot.
Excessive.
It's like a reverse taper is basically what you're supposed to do realistically. So the first week, if you're going to run at all, you run like a shakeout run, very light. And then by the second week, you might be able to get like 2 or 3, short runs in. But they say like give yourself like 3 weeks before you do anything of quote unquote distance. And I guess distance is up to your interpretation.
Yeah.
As a first time marathoner, distance is probably closer to like 4 to 6 miles. For someone who's done multiple marathons, they might be able to get out there and do like a 10 miler in a few weeks. So like it just listen to your body.
Or maybe they're planning on doing a 20 on Monday.
Nah.
Unbelievable.
Oh my
God,
I
think
I can't.
In 2018 when I did Dopey, I think I was so burnt out. I don't think I did anything for like 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well, it's so much training leading into it that you really need.
And it wasn't that I needed the recovery. I just didn't want to.
The mental, but the mental
honestly,
part
the
of it,
mental part of it is real.
Yeah.
I don't know if people feel that way after first time Dopiers, but like that is exactly how I'm feeling right now. Like,
yeah, you just need a mental break. Yeah,
but
nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, if you leave a review, I would love to dedicate a 5-mile run to you.
There you go. Look at that. We can get Tom running again, 5 miles with your 5-star review. And as always, just share the show. That's amazing as well. And that's all.
Yeah.
Do that, please. Yeah.
So I kind of hate to ask, but what are we running for this week?
I'm not, which is exciting. So purposefully, I decided I wasn't going to run or do anything. I was talking to a couple people and they were like, I Pelotoned yesterday, but I'm not going to run. I'm not even doing that. I'm taking the whole weekend off. And then I'm going to start again next weekend. They actually just announced a new race in Annapolis in March. So
Ooh.
I signed up for the half for that. And so that's what I'm planning on doing. So just to keep myself trained, I'm not going to do anything this week. And then I think next week I'm going to do exactly what you guys said. I'll do like 3 or 4 and then just start building back up to March.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, and they did make an announcement today. They will have mile markers on course and bathrooms. So look at that.
Excuse me?
Just
how much was this registration?
I mean,
we
wow.
have to cancel vacation now because this is obviously
mile markers and
obviously
bathrooms.
For the elites.
Unreal.
In this economy.
Oh my god. I am running to break the crud that I have from Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much took so we're recording on Saturday after Dopey. So I didn't really run all week because we were driving 2 of the days. I had to work 2 of the days. We had stuff to do. So I inadvertently took the whole week off. Plus I felt like crap. So I wasn't going to do anything. So hopefully tomorrow I can get out and run. I did hit the treadmill today, just a little bit, some walking. And then tomorrow and Monday, I plan to do some longer miles. I'd like to do at least 10 tomorrow and then maybe a 20 on Monday. So, because I have something coming up in spring that I'm not talking about, that I talked to a few people about, but we'll talk about it after it happens. So there's
after it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's doing secret things,
top
guys.
Secret. It's all top secret these days, guys. Sorry.
I mean, we know all about secrets and spies, right?
Yeah, we've seen some spies.
Greg knows all about your plans.
Yeah, I bet he does. Probably since he's probably got someone in this room, bugging this room. Who knows?
I bet Tori's in that closet behind you.
Possibly. Connor's going to come downstairs with a Rise and Run shirt on. Who knows?
I would die if you walked into the room. Like, I want to make that happen so bad now.
So great.
Oh my God.
I am not running right now, but I am planning. And I guess we'll eventually get around to like a 2023, like what our goals are or whatever.
Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah. But like, I'm looking for a lot of different races that I have not run in the past. I think Diana just mentioned the Annapolis Running Festival, and that's one that I want to do too. But like, I'm just kind of planning out what the year is going to look like. And I want to do new things. And I think overall just try to be a better quality of runner, like get faster, all that good stuff. But like, I'm just planning. I'm looking at dates. I'm trying to make sure that things don't overlap and we're not committing to too much and kind of spread it out over the year. So I'm in a planning phase right now.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the planning thing. I feel like I'm kind of in the same place, but I'm running for eating better, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not really running, I guess. So I'm just eating better.
Wait, you're telling me now that Dopey's over, I should not be consuming the same amount of calories?
Gosh. No, yeah. I actually went to the grocery store this morning. I spent a pretty penny on vegetables and fruits and meat and stuff to meal prep. I am going on somewhat of an elimination diet type style, where I need to get rid of dairy because I know it messes with my stomach and my body a lot. I'm also not going to do like grains. Like I'm going to still do like sweet potatoes and like starchy things. Like I'm not giving up carbs. It's just kind of like a little bit of my own hybrid plan so that, I don't know. I keep complaining about like not feeling well, the not being able to recover well. My muscles don't, I don't know, work the same way they used to. But I also eat like crap, and I eat chicken nuggets and chicken fingers and I don't know what else, French fries as my main courses these days. So maybe if I ate better,
you'd feel better.
I could feel better. So we're going to try this healthy eating thing for a little while. I'm giving up beer for 4 weeks.
What are you doing? Dry January?
Me?
Yeah. God. Yeah. I'm giving up, I don't know. I just need to I keep saying how I feel like crap, but then not doing anything like real about it. So I need to like focus and see whether or not I can help myself feel better so that I can start when I do start running for real again. I can hope that those runs will feel good and not just like a slog. But my plan for running is to just sort of stay at the 3 to 5 mile mark, just repetitively until that feels really good.
No, I think that's the smartest way. That's what I did when I came back from my injury. It's just like I got my base back to where it should be, just like 3 to 5 all the time. I felt like I was doing it constantly.
I will.
That's my plan.
I will apologize in advance because while we do support you and we care, we will troll you by checking into breweries and tagging you in those check-ins.
Yeah, here's the thing. We didn't mean to, but we basically, I mean, we'd have the odd beer if we were like out to dinner or something, we might get a drink, but we basically didn't drink October, November, December.
Yeah.
While we were Dopey training, which was insane. Yeah. I mean, if you guys have met us, we're drinkers. Look, like we didn't go hang out in breweries. We weren't drinking around the house.
It's because you had to go for a run the next day for like 8 million miles every single day of your life.
And it's interesting because we did go to like Perfect Pour and usually we make ourselves like a beer advent calendar in December, but we just were like, oh, let's just get a 6-pack and create your own 6-pack of like Christmas beers to drink in between Christmas and New Year's. And we didn't even do that. Like they just sat there. So like we have all this beer. People buy us beer all the time. We have so much beer in the house because we just haven't been drinking. And I didn't notice I was losing any weight because of it. So I'm going to say beer did not contribute to that. So welcome back.
Welcome back. We missed you. Also, a little disclaimer. You don't have to drink to have a good time. Like, do you? This is us. This is what you get.
I just like it.
Me too.
It's delicious.
No harm. No shade to any of the non-drinkers out there.
Oh,
God bless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's not even like I drink like a ton. It's not even for the weight loss part of it so much as it's to like clear out all of the crap that's in my body, basically. Just make it like all. So, no sugar. That's the other. I was going to say there was something else I was eliminating.
I feel like that's the bigger thing, really.
No sugar. So no sugar, no added sugar. So I can eat fruit and like things like that, but no added sugar.
Yeah, I feel like that's the bigger thing, honestly.
Yeah. So no cookies because I've become a cookie monster. I'm
literally going to make Rice Krispie treats today.
Do we want to get into our topic?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, we're not going to do what I love to do and recount every hour since last Tuesday or whatever. Happened.
I feel like we're going to say we're not going to do that. And then what's going to happen is we're going to do that.
My favorite thing is Tom says immediately he's not going to do that and then immediately goes into it like he doesn't know how to talk about something.
That's why when we said it earlier before we started recording, that's what I was thinking to myself. That's why I reacted the way I
love
did.
It when he starts the story. Well, we woke up and then I'm like, what?
Yes.
This is why everyone loves Tom.
We're gonna address that too.
Oh boy.
But okay, so we all get there. Let's start with the Expo. Let's start with our thoughts on the Expo.
Sounds like a plan.
So virtual queue was a thing we had said in our preview that we were pretty sure that it was going to be, but we hadn't had that announcement yet. So it was a thing. All 4 of us got super lucky with our Q number. I was like, what, number 18?
Yeah, we were.
You guys were like in
23.
The 20s?
And actually, our friends, Nikki, Nicole, Scott, and Ryan, they were in a separate room than us, and they got group 3.
Yeah. But then I do know some people who got group like 200. So I do know some unlucky ones.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, that worked out well for us.
Yeah, and we had gotten in the day before. We were a little nervous because of all the Southwest craziness, but didn't have any issues. We actually got there a little earlier than we thought that we would. because we were panicked a little bit and moved our flight up. So it was good to get there the day before. So we made sure that we were on property. I know a lot of people were having issues because they were planning on flying in that day, and it was a mess. I know Angie and Andrew had all kinds of issues. They didn't get in. They had to pay all this money to like switch flights and things like that. So just future state, if possible, just get there the day before. Even if you have to work the day before and you're getting kind of late. I mean, I would just say get there that morning.
I know several people whose flights got canceled and delayed and or had to move to different flights. And I mean, obviously, Michael and I were down there. We actually had a really long trip because we were down there from December 30th. We actually left the 29th because of the Southwest stuff, because we had bought the tickets for New Year's Eve in Epcot. And we had spent the money for that. So I wanted to make sure we were there. So we made the decision to drive down, which was a nightmare. Yeah. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So we were also on property and down there. And I do, like Diana say, recommend, especially with this whole virtual queue thing too, because if you're not within 45 miles of the resorts, then you can't get into the virtual queue.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just thinking about all of the delays and things like that. I have never seen such a long line at guest relations as I did for that 5K, because so many people got in so late, they couldn't even get to the expo.
Yeah. I did notice that. Yeah.
Agreed.
But the one thing I will say, and we can get into the details of the expo, is Tom and I have always had other plans expo day. We've always said we're going to go to a park, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and had kind of all of these plans. This is the first time we did an expo with nothing on the calendar for the rest of the day. I think we had a dinner reservation at 6 or something pretty late. So we were actually able to hang out at the expo and not rush, and we got to talk to people, and we were able to hang out for a couple of hours and get a beer, and that was so great. So Tom and I both said afterwards that we're never going to make plans on Expo Day again because we had such a good time doing that.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, we got to the expo. I think you guys also got to the expo super early. I did find, so here's the thing I did find, is that with the virtual queue, I feel like things all day felt much more crowded than it normally does. And I think the reason is because even people who had later virtual queues
just
came to the expo early and then just hung out all day.
Yeah.
So it was crowded.
It was crowded.
Like not necessarily like where inside the buildings, but like everything outside that walkway was crowded the whole time. Like there was constantly people, because I personally just know people who came at 10 and then just hung out all day, whether for whenever their queue was. They came, they either were early like we were, got in the expo, then hung out, or they had a late queue, so they just came because they wanted to make sure they were there when their number was called, and they just hung out all day and then went in when they were called. So I do feel like generally at like the 2:00 hour, I feel like usually you go to the expo, you get in, you get out, and it's not that crowded anymore because the whole morning crowd has moved on. And this expo did not feel like that at all.
Yeah, people were definitely hanging out. I think I talked to more people for longer on the expo day than I did any other time.
Yeah. We saw a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Because I went through the merch spot in like
for 3
seconds because
he stood in line with me and then he was like, I can't do this. And he left.
I I wasn't buying any of it, so it was just a complete waste of my energy to be in there. So but yeah, I mean, I like immediately ran into Ron Disnerd, and I was talking to him for like, I don't know, 2 hours or something. And I think EgoFit came by. I think I saw her.
Mark and Megan were around.
Yeah, we saw
there were so many people.
We saw people.
Like,
Bob and Greg came by.
That was when Greg told
we
y'all
tied up Greg for
that it was going to be like $25 to take a picture with him, right?
He charged us to take a picture.
Charged you $25.
Actually, that interview I had with him cost me like $50.
Oh my gosh, guys! If we do the virtually live race and the prices go up, You'll know why now.
Look, that came out of the
all because of
podcast bank account.
We have a podcast bank account.
Sure,
this is news to me. But yes, if those races go up, you'll know why.
Yeah.
You'll know who to blame.
Yeah.
Yep.
Head over to Rise and Run and blame them.
Send your complaints
to Greg.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Specifically Greg.
But
Bob's a nice guy.
Yeah. Like so many people came through. Was it? Like,
Yeah, it was awesome.
Sam and Donna and everybody was
Ryan. We had multiple Ryans.
All the Ryans. Oh, yeah. Ryan runs Disney was there.
Yeah.
So many
It was great.
That's when we met Shailene inside there.
Yeah. Met some other people inside. Yeah. Just like tons of people.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
So going forward, we're Expo hangout people is what we kind of decided. Although, I mean, I guess this is a different race because like everyone is there for marathon.
It's a huge one. Yeah.
It was just good not to rush and
around.
not to have an agenda. Like when we came out of the Disney merch, which we'll talk about in a second because that was a freaking mess. We like hung out for, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours before we were like, oh, I guess we should go in and get our bibs. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was good because by the time we went in to get our bibs, it was like quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I never went to the expo floor at all, by the way.
it was kind of small this year.
Because you came out and went and hung back out again, and I went into the expo floor because I wanted to say hi to the Sparkle Squad ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because Dopey, you get all your shirts in the whatever building.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to go into the expo floor to go to where the t-shirts are because they already come in the bags.
It's awesome. You don't have to go to the expo at all.
Well, does
like
that mean you're just going to keep doing Dopey
Might
so
just
that you
do
can
Dopey,
just
so I
do
never
Dopey
have to go to the
expo?
Yeah.
So as far as the merch itself, though, Tom.
Yeah.
How was the merch for you, and how much debt did you go into?
We're not going to get into the amount. We spent what we spent.
Also, I will notice, so I was thinking about it after we left. Normally what we do is we pre-order our pins and we pre-order our magnets before we get down there, which is, I don't know, $100, $200 worth of stuff before we go down. And we weren't able to do that for Marathon. So then I had to buy 6 $18 pins at once.
Oh.
And I was like, oh,
okay.
Oh, I wasn't used to spending that at the expo.
I think what we got was perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Found a couple things in the right sizes and whatever. I'd do it all over again. They
had some cute stuff too, because they had the I mean, listen, I'm kind of over the 90s. I said what I said. I'm over that style. Like it's exploded too much everywhere, and Run Disney ran with it, and it just like it's a lot. It's a lot of color. It's just too much for me.
I feel like they ran it into the ground this weekend.
It just like there was just so much of it, and everything was that. But they did have some cute stuff like the Chippendale and like the Donald, like the like with them being like super tired or like have to run another day, or like they had some really cute stuff. There was the one with, wasn't there a Pluto one that had like him where he was like dog tired or something like that?
We bought really that one that went viral because it's so dumb. It was Mickey, and he's spraying like a water bottle on his feet, and it says, "My dogs are barking."
Oh yeah, my dogs. Okay,
yeah, so Tom and I both got that, and wore that into the parks, and people were like, "I can't believe you bought it."
Yeah.
The good thing was, and I will say this about Disney, is Tom does have a lot of trouble finding things at race expos in his size. So he'll see something, he likes it, it doesn't fit, he can't get it. So here, he was able to get like a couple of jackets and a bunch of shirts, and I Did It shirts, and they all fit like fantastic. So he was so happy. So he bought like way more than I did at the expo, just because it was the first time he was able to go to an expo and actually find things for him.
Well, the ladies stuff fit really weird this year. There was like some like wacky things happening because that Spirit jersey I bought is like huge. But then like the jacket I bought, I had to buy it in like a large. I might have even bought it in an extra large. It's weird. Like the sizing for all the women's stuff was bizarre this year.
Yeah, and all the big sizes were gone really quick. I mean, we said we were in group 23, and a lot of like the women's stuff in the larger sizes were already gone because people were trying stuff on, and then the arms were too tight, and this.
Yeah. I mean, you were there when I tried on that medium. I couldn't even get it up my arm. I feel like in the beginning they were doing a pretty good job of restocking, and I had hoped that was going to be the trend for the day. But then as I talked to more and more people who didn't get in until like they were like 100 or later, there was like nothing left. Those Spirit jerseys were pretty much gone by the time we left the expo.
Yeah.
When we left the merch area.
Yeah, I couldn't get a women's Dopey jacket. They didn't really have that in a size that worked for me. And then I know the lounge fly that I got was sold out. They had it when I was in there, but apparently by the end of the day they were gone.
That's insane that by group 3, because that means Club Run Disney got them. And then group 1 to 3 got them. Like, that's insane to me that you do not make enough, that there is even a possibility of getting halfway through the day.
And they had so many of just the regular marathon ears. They had them at the airport on Monday. Or no, when did we fly out? Wednesday.
Like, how many people are signed up for Dopey. You know how many women there are, like, that are going to want them. Even if you buy 50%, they would still probably sell out of them and make more money.
Yeah, and they were on eBay for like $300 yesterday.
I know. I saw them. $299. Insane.
I will make a comment, and you can expand on it. It is weird, and I've seen it before, but like it is weird that there's a bit of an animalistic kind of vibe when people come out onto that Disney merch floor. Because it's a free-for-all, and everyone's going in different directions and yelling for each other and losing whoever they're with and grabbing the first thing that they see and then putting it back on the wrong thing or throwing it on the ground. And then you get the mobile orders, and you just see these people that have snatched up all of this merch, sit down, and then decide then if they want it. And if they don't, they just leave it.
I have never seen that at a Disney Expo before. That was, if you did that, you should be ashamed of yourself, honestly, because people had piles of clothes on the floor. They were going through them, and then they just left these huge piles of clothes on the floor. God. And you couldn't tell who was what because people would leave this stuff and come back. And I know people were yelling. So if someone couldn't find a size, they were like, oh, here's just a big pile of clothes that people left. And then if you went through that pile of clothes, people were yelling at you. I've never seen that happen at a Disney Expo before. I don't know if that happened at, what was the last one? Wine and Dine? But that's the first time I've seen it happen.
Just the whole thing, the whole official merch and the way that it's managed. Like, I can't do it better, but there's got to be a better way. There's got to be improvements that can be made in general. And everyone's got an opinion on it, right? But like, it's just real messy. And
I would say just day one, you have to have a bib or you can't get in.
I mean,
period.
It sounds very simple, but for some reason,
but that still doesn't.
Why not? But for some reason, they're not doing that, or they haven't considered that that's going to solve.
But then
problem.
The resellers would just take all the bibs and not run because they make so much money.
That's fair too. Yeah.
Yeah. You know? But then you have to also remember that even if you did that, that still wouldn't eliminate all the people who are taking all the stuff off the racks to try them on and put everything. Like, that's a totally different thing that started happening. Yes, it's a result of the panic that occurs, but it's insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, someone was telling me that they were like, they had their 2 sizes, one in one hand. They put one down for 2 seconds so that they could try on the one, and someone took the other one out of their hand, basically, like as they were putting it down, because they were just putting it down so that they could try it on. And someone was like, "Oh, you're putting that down," and ran away with it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that that's a Disney problem. I think that's just
a humanity.
Yeah,
People
Yeah, like I mean, because we saw a lot of that this whole week at Disney in general, with the crowds there, like just being totally disrespectful to other humans. So,
it really is such an interesting dynamic because it's like the happiest place on earth, and everyone's there for the magic, and then immediately when when the course narrows or when you're in a later boarding group, whatever the hell it is, right? You just lose all sense of, happiness, and you're like, I'm out for myself. Like, and I thought that, and we'll talk about this when we get into the races, but like every time Carissa and John Pelkey stood side by side and were like, by the way, too wide, that goes out the door immediately. But that's just kind of like the vibe of the weekend. Like, you got to know what you're getting yourself into because it's so many people. They create such a fanfare and such a demand for this merch. You got other people reselling it for such a profit. Like, it's just, it's chaotic. You partly love it, but like you got to know what you're getting yourself into because it's not that way at other races. I cannot imagine the New York City Marathon or Boston Marathon.
It absolutely is.
Is it?
It absolutely is.
Okay.
It's absolute chaos. That expo is absolute chaos.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
The New York City Marathon is insane.
You got to know what you're getting yourself into if you want that as part of your experience.
I feel like it's all the big major races that are like that, though. Like, I don't think you're not going to go to a rock and roll expo and have it be like that. But like New York City, all the coveted quote unquote races, like things that are like the New York City where the merch is like they release the merch and then everyone's like, oh, I want that jacket. Like that's where everyone like go. Like, so he's right. It's not a Disney thing. It's a humanity thing.
Yeah.
It's just people want what they want. And if they can't get it, they get upset.
And I don't usually get upset. Like I love a crowd. I love when there's lots of energy. I love when there's like 1,000 people everywhere. I just love the vibe. I just don't like it when people create more work for these poor cast members.
All I'm saying is it's kind of hypocritical to constantly thank volunteers for being out on the course and then the day before have caused, to Diana's point, that much extra headache for the same volunteers.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just consider it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. While we're speaking of volunteers quickly, this is a general thing for all the races. When you're going through the aid station, if you take a cup and you've gotten beyond the trash cans and you still have the cup, put it in your goddamn pocket and don't drop it on the ground so the volunteer then has to walk halfway down the road to get your cup that you walked past the trash cans
Amen.
with. Road runners are disgusting. Let me just say that. Like,
wow.
They feel like they have a license to litter.
Yeah.
Like, if you get beyond the trash cans, crumple it up and put it in your pocket. Like, that person is not your butler.
Right.
Like, what is happening?
Society's crumbling.
Society is crumbling. Like, you're right. And
he's so angry.
And like, you're who are you? What do you? You're running a 2-hour marathon? No. Like, get it in the trash can.
And they know it though. They try to solve for it so much because by design they'll have a trash can here and then there and then wait a while and there's another one. Like,
they're far enough down. If you go beyond them, put them in your pocket.
Now it's on you. I agree.
Like, unbelievable.
I agree too. I just think is the amount of rage that just came out of Michael.
That amount of laziness and inconsideration disgusts me.
Yeah.
Because I was at an aid station where I watched an older gentleman have to walk like 400 feet past who was picking up the cups.
Yeah, because it is a lot of older people who are at these volunteers. Because
you're not some elite. Throw it in the can.
Yep.
I did take notice to the volunteers a little bit more than I normally do this year. I think because obviously there's been news that Run Disney
it's only given half a day.
Only giving them a half a day. And like it's a lot of these older people who like do these volunteer positions so that they can get like their grandkids
tickets and stuff
extra
like that.
tickets and take their grandkids to the parks. And that's what people were talking about before. So I kind of feel like I took notice to who the volunteers were. And it was a lot of the older people and older gentlemen. So I agree. Don't make the old man or little old ladies who are helping you give out you water so that you're hydrated, make them walk.
Or anyone. Like, come on.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone.
All right. Yeah.
I agree. 5K day.
I loved it.
I'm sure you did. We were determined to be team first bus every single day.
Oh God, that's right.
And we were team first bus every single day. And on the 5K day, the bus picked us up and took a couple wrong turns.
Oh yeah, this is
was
the day.
That the 5K day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the 10K was worse.
Because
the 5K.
No, I was gonna say because 10K day was the day we haven't gotten to, but that's the day I forgot my bib that it took you an hour and a half to get there.
Yeah. No, this was not nearly as
the
bad.
5K day was okay. My God.
So
you had 2 bad bus experiences?
Okay, real quick. We get on the bus. They kind of take a wrong turn. We go back to the campgrounds. The guy,
oh God.
He gets lost back there.
Gets lost back there.
Oh God.
Turns around, gets out. We go over to the Contemporary. We're there for a little bit, and then we eventually make it over to Epcot.
So that only took maybe 35, 40 minutes.
Yep.
So we still beat the people that were there on like later buses, but we stayed at Wilderness Lodge. And for the 5K and 10K day, because the damn monorail's not running, which is some BS, they make us go to the Contemporary too. Because if you're on an earlier bus,
gotcha.
it's not full. So they want you to go to the Contemporary. So I will never do that again.
I didn't think about that.
She said it much better than me. But
yeah.
We had a bit of a
we didn't really,
bus snafu.
We were quick. Yeah, our bus was totally fine that day.
We went to the Grand Flow afterwards. But that
we
weren't even there for that long. We had no real issues that day. That day, though, was humid.
Oh, that was a warm day.
AF. Yeah. It was insane how hot it was. And I was wearing a fleece onesie. I could have worn a fleece onesie any other day and been totally fine. But that's the day I chose to wear this fleece onesie.
Kimbry was going to wear a fleece onesie and then changed her mind that morning.
Because it was 70 degrees.
I didn't have anything else. I didn't have any other alternatives on me where I could be like, oh, I'll just swap costumes.
Yep.
And people will still have any idea what I am.
It was fun.
It was fun.
It
was good.
It was miserable.
Was it fun? I don't know.
I had a lot of back pain that day from our stupid drive the previous week. So it was miserable for me.
Yeah.
I was in a lot of pain and there was a lot of standing around.
We ran with my friend Linda and Mike and their 2 kids. They were doing a Peter Pan costume, and because I waited till the last possible second to figure out whether or not I was even going to wear a costume, I joined their costume. They had a couple other people. What, the alligator, the crocodile? He's a
crocodile, right?
And then I told Michael to just wear all black, and then he could be Peter Pan's shadow.
Yep. Worked out good. I was a shadow.
And then it was funny because his name was, there were the 2 Mikes. So it was like the Mike and Mike shadows.
I love it.
It was hilarious. So Michael wore, quote unquote, wore a costume.
I did. It was all black.
But we walked with them, and we were walking at, a 5-year-old pace.
Yeah.
We it wasn't a lot of moving very quickly.
It was great. It was great for my back. Everything worked out good.
The lines for the 5K
crazy
for the characters were, there's no words to describe how ridiculous they were.
They were really bad.
Did you guys stop for any of them?
God,
we hopped in a picture. Is that the one where you hopped in a picture with Megan?
Yes. So Megan Avis was up in line, and as we were walking by, she called us over. So we were able to jump in a photo with her. But we started in the last corral. I, by some miracle, had corral A, and I should have, in retrospect, just run my own race and gotten a ton of pictures, but...
Fair. That's fair.
So anything notable about the 5K?
Not really.
Trying to think, other than the character lines being insane.
They're long, but
no, I love Disney 5Ks. I love them.
I don't remember, but are they normally that long, or
they're
was
normally
like
pretty long? But I'm normally for some reason, people are on Team Michael and do not like the Disney 5Ks. So we've done race weekends where everyone else has stayed in bed and I've gotten up and I've gone and done a 5K by myself. I did it at Princess. I did it at Tinkerbell. I've done it at a bunch of races where I've just kind of gone by myself. And I've always had a great time. And they're not timed, so I never minded waiting in line for character lines. So you didn't have to worry about it. So, and if you start a little earlier, you're okay. But starting in D was bad.
Even if, there were points where we were worried about, like, whether or not the 5 and 7-year-old or 8-year-old were going to make it to the finish.
Yeah.
At one point, Liam sat down, the boy sat down on the ground. We're like, oh God, we have to get him back up because we were waiting for somebody. We were pretty close to the finish. We were so close to the finish. And he was like, okay, I'm just going to sit here while we're waiting for somebody to decide what we're doing. And we're like, oh no, we need to move
could be
because
bad.
this could be bad. We might not get back up again. Yeah. I will say, if we're going to talk overall, the corrals, and this went kind of for every race, the corrals, because for the 5K and the 10K, because they did that thing where, like, we didn't know when we started the 5K and we see the stage on the right-hand side. And then all of a sudden you like are there and you're thinking you're going to go right. And then all of a sudden you realize, no, you're going to go all the way left and then do this weird, like, hairpin turn to come back to the start.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nightmare.
No. And we,
that's all.
For some reason, we were like hugging the railing and moving really, really slow. And then all of a sudden we turned around and almost no one was behind us because everyone was like walking around.
Yeah.
Same with us.
That's actually what happened. We were one of the last people
in C
to cross the finish line, probably in the last like 10 to or like 50 people. Like they were in the very back.
No. And we were wearing we made the I'm working on it signs. So when the website crashed, we like made those into signs. And I think one of our friends like wanted to get on camera, but we're like criticizing Disney. So like they're not going to show us. So like it was like we were like we can't like get by Carissa because Carissa's not going to be like, let's talk about how Disney after this up. Like they're not going to show us.
Yeah. Wow. Remember when the website crashed on everybody and they made you wait for 4 hours without telling you anything?
So it's
Wasn't that
funny
great?
for people who are there, but like no one's going to show us or talk to us. Like
no. Yeah.
And I think that's what our friend thought was going to happen.
I brought a flashlight.
Yes,
did.
Tom had
we
a flashlight.
Have the recording of where we saw you with your flashlight.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. People were making fun of it, but then they appreciated it.
He got thanked during the half for having it.
Yep.
I will get to it, but I did use a light in the half as well.
Wow.
I think it was the half, maybe in the 10K.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
They all blend together after a while.
But overall, I love a Disney 5K. They're no pressure. They're nothing but fun.
I will never do a Disney 5K again.
I don't think I'll ever do a Dopey again.
I think you would if you could run it.
Oh, I'll never do a Dopey again either. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that I think you would do a Disney 5K if you didn't.
No, it wouldn't be worth it.
Get stuck with me.
No, why would I do it? It would be. I'm not getting up at 2:30 in the morning to run 3 miles. Mm-hmm. What am I, psychotic or something?
They're fun.
Let's talk about the 10K. Any notes on that?
Where did the 10K go? I don't remember.
It went around the boardwalk.
Oh, that was the one that went around the boardwalk.
It goes around. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just basically the 5K course, and then it adds on the boardwalk.
Adds the boardwalk on.
Yeah. Basically.
Gotcha. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Because
it's pretty much the same.
This is where we both had terrible mornings.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, now
this
I
was, I got on the bus. Well, we got on the bus. And as we're pulling out, I look down and I see Michael's bib. And I look down at me and I'm like, I'm not wearing my bib.
That's exactly what I did when I forgot mine.
I literally looked at Michael's and went, huh. Looked at me and I was like, yeah, no, I definitely don't have it. And we were going to the Grand Flow, and I said to Michael like 5 times, like, I can just go to Runners Relations, but I know the 5K morning, there was a really long line, and I think that's what he was thinking. I think the line would have been way shorter. I think the reason why, as you said, the line was as long as it was for 5K morning was because so many people's flights got in late and people couldn't get over to the Expo. So we pull up to the Grand Flow, and he's like, I'm just going to run back. I can run back. And I was like, that's going to take you like forever. And he's like, I can just run one way and get on the other bus. I was like, okay. So he like gets off the bus and leaves.
Sprinted back from Grand Flow to Poway. It was sweaty and chilly by the time I got back there because it was cold out that morning.
And then he stood in line for the bus for a long time.
There was a giant line for the bus when I got there. But I made it in plenty of time.
Yeah.
And then I went to the start line and I cried.
Yeah. Because that's what you do.
You know.
Listen, I had a very emotional whole weekend in general. So like, it is not surprising that I cried. It's not surprising I cried to begin with, but I feel like this weekend was over the top emotional for me. So yes, I got to the start and area, and then I wanted to be able to make sure I could find him. So like I was planning, I tried to find people so that I wasn't alone, but I don't know that that was the best idea because then I just started crying. So thank you to Zane and his wife, who kept me a little sane for a little while and kept me company. And then walked back with me to find Michael. And how was your morning, guys?
The bus sucked. And this poor bus driver, man. Like she was trying. Like we get on and went over to the Contemporary, and there was a ton of buses at the Contemporary, or they were there, and then more showed up behind us, and we were just like, "Can you just go?" And they were just telling her that she had to stay there and wait for a little bit of time. She got off. She was talking to the other bus drivers or whoever was releasing buses. Like she was trying, and there was no shortage of unsolicited opinions from runners to bus drivers on those buses.
That's the worst.
And then they're like, after the Contemporary, they're like, you have to go back to the campgrounds. So we were on that bus, I don't know, 40, 45 minutes.
We were on the bus for an hour.
For an hour, okay.
We got on the bus at 2:35, and we did not get to Epcot until 3:35. Our friends who got on the bus at like 3:10 beat us to the park.
I actually walked in with them because Lisa, I walked in. I did feel bad because when she saw me, I was already in a bad place. And so when she saw me, I was like, ooh, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah. It was bad.
But that's what she had said. She said that you left before them, and then I was walking in at the same time as them. So yeah, not great for you guys.
No, it was terrible, and I felt so bad.
Team First bus didn't work out for you.
Yeah, it was so bad, and it was not the bus driver's fault. She tried. The problem was when we got to the Contemporary, we sat for like 20 some odd minutes because there were two buses ahead of us. And they wanted to, in retro, if we would have known we were sitting that long, everyone on our bus would have just gotten off and got on one of the other buses at Contemporary.
Yeah, just moved up.
Which is insane that would have somehow gotten you that, like you were already on a bus and if you got off the bus,
you would have got there faster.
You would have gotten there faster.
Yeah, it was
That's
crazy.
Ridiculous.
That is wild.
It was crazy. So that was bad. So we get there. I ran to go drop the my stuff off at Gear Check, and I got all sweaty, and I wore kind of a throwaway, and I got rid of it too soon because I got all hot, and then I assumed it was going to be warm because I had ran like that to drop myself off at Gear Check. And then in the corral, I was like, I shouldn't have gotten rid of my stuff. Because I was cold.
Yeah. It was pretty so those mornings, the next mornings were chilly. I mean, I can't speak to the marathon, but the 2 other mornings they were chilly.
Yeah.
Which morning did Michael show up looking like he was a cast member on The Deadliest Catch?
The half.
Yeah.
Oh, with the poncho?
poncho and then like his
and
jacket like all bundled
with
up.
The hood.
Yeah.
I had my hood up for the tank. Oh no, I didn't
Yeah.
because I had ran, so I was sweaty, so I didn't have my jacket.
Yeah,
Well,
Tom's
the
like,
10K
are
was
you
the day
taking
you
a break
had
from your filming
hypothermia.
of the Deadliest Catch right now? Like, what are you doing?
The 10K is the day that Michael crossed the finish line and then
froze
almost
to
had
death.
hypothermia.
Yeah.
Or it said that he had hypothermia,
He told
and
me
Diana
he had hypothermia.
wanted to die laughing.
I was laughing so hard. I was like, you got to take it down a notch. Like, whatever's happening. It's
Michael's
just...
over there being dramatic, telling everyone he's
I was
dying from
frozen.
hypothermia.
It was like 50 degrees. I had a wet tank top and my super light running jacket on. And I was standing there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I was standing at the finish line waiting for everyone, and I'm drinking my beer, and I'm shaking so badly it's almost spilling out of the cup as I'm sitting there.
Yeah. Well, how did your race go? Let's go through how your race went.
It went fine. Surprisingly, weirdly, I didn't even plan to do this. I did full negative splits the whole race.
You ran a sub 60, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just kind of coasted through.
Yeah.
Felt good.
I saw that. I actually didn't realize that until I saw it on your Strava.
Yeah, because I was like, I was running with some dude from Henderson, Nevada for a bit. Then he stopped to take a picture, so I was running with him for a bit. I don't know who he was. And then
It's funny you don't know who he was, but you know where he was from.
Yeah, well, because we were talking about running in like Red Rock Canyon and stuff.
That's funny.
So then I was like, oh, then I finished and I felt pretty good. And I was like, because I just wanted to try and run because we hadn't really run,
Yeah.
a little bit. So
Yeah.
I was trying to decide what I was going to do for the half on that day. So I ran a little bit.
Okay.
It was fun. I didn't stop for anything that day.
I ran with Marsha. After that morning was very chaotic for me. I wasn't even sure. There was no morning that I had any plans to run with anybody. It was a very weird weekend for me. Like I didn't go into this weekend with any mindset of like, oh, I'm going to fun run or I'm going to run for time or I'm going to run with these people or I'm going to run. Like I had zero idea pretty much every morning other than the 5K because I had done the group costume. Then I was going to walk with Linda and her kids. I had no idea what the other two races were going to look like. And then when I forgot my bib, I didn't even like really go and hang out with like the people who were doing the group costume that I was doing. So I had no idea if I was going to run with people. I was with you guys for a little while. Like I had talked to a couple people like, oh, maybe we'd run. So I was like, well, let me text and see whether anyone else wants to run that I had talked to originally. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to find them at that point because my whole morning had like gone crazy. But I did end up finding my friend Marsha. So we were Kevin's. We were part of the Kevin crowd who were, I don't know, the Sparkle Athletic Kevin skirt and a blue shirt. And so I went and found her. We ran together. It was a good run. Kept it pretty much the same intervals the whole time. We did 60-30s, I think. Since I'm not an intervaler, I could be completely wrong about that. I basically run and walk when people tell me to run and walk when I'm running intervals. We stopped for some characters, not all characters. We got into line with Susanna and Christy and Mindy and a couple other people, Tara, Amy. There was a few people there for the Mickey and Minnie because that line was insane because that line when you're coming into Boardwalk went all the way around the bridge on Swan and Dolphin. And like, so we're like, if we see someone we know, we'll stop. But otherwise we're not stopping.
Well, what's weird was when I went by there was like 5 people in that line.
Oh, because you're...
Well, no, because you couldn't because I guess until that line built up, you didn't really notice it.
Oh.
Because of the way they were tucked in that corner and you came around the corner and then you're looking to the right and they were off to the left.
Oh.
I guess with just because of all that, if you were...
No, that line went
was easy to breeze
and
past.
around over towards Swan and Dolphin. That line was insane by the time I got there.
Huh.
Yeah. There were a couple lines that were really like... They were bad for the 5K, 10K like they normally are, but that one was really bad. And then during the 5K, they had Chippendale Rescue Rangers, and I've never seen a line that long during a race.
That was crazy.
I've never seen
that line
it.
was crazy.
Seen it that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't. We ran into some other people towards the finish line, so across the finish with our friends Nikki and Megan. I don't know. I felt pretty good after that. Like I I think I said to Marcia at one point, I think my stress fracture's back because
no,
I had like this phantom pain happening.
You're
and
panicking.
I was like, no, I'm fine. It's fine. That was basically my whole weekend, was me panicking about everything that could possibly be wrong.
Yeah.
Or go wrong.
Of course.
But yeah, so we had fun. We finished. And that was my race. I got some good jump shots. I got some really good PhotoPass shots from that race. So I was pleased with that.
Nice. We had a plan for how we were going to do our intervals for the whole weekend. So we were going to walk the 5K, which we did. And then for the 10K, we were going to reverse intervals. So our typical interval is 2 and 1. So we run 2, walk 1. So we were going to reverse interval for the first half of the 10K and then walk it out. So we were able to do that. We started in the same corral, but closer to the front. So that was a little bit better. That one, it's a little different because the 5K is not really timed. There's no balloon ladies or anything like that. For this one, there are. And I don't know if we took really any photos. We might have jumped in with somebody, but we were just out there and then finished probably an hour ahead of the balloon ladies, maybe. So we didn't really see them all weekend. So
that's good.
Yeah, it was fine.
Oh, so you finished probably well before me then, because we were in line for what's his name? The candlestick.
Lumiere.
Blinking on his name. Yeah, thank you. We were on line for him, and coming across the bridge, like across the way, coming back into Epcot, we could see them, and people started their panic, and
we didn't see
flying
them
out of the line and all of that stuff.
I think maybe we did get 2 photos, but it was because Ryan ran ahead and got in line. So we got Darkwing, I think, during the 10K, and he was almost at the end. And he ran ahead, and then there was one other character that he ran ahead that we got during the 10K. But by the time we hit him, he was like almost at the front of the line where he was letting people in front of him that we were able to jump in line and get a photo. So
what were you guys for that day?
We were Disney afternoon characters. Oh, and can we give a shout out to the Weckerleys who went as gargoyles and were wearing full face makeup?
Yes. They were
wow.
So
I actually didn't
good.
realize who it was. And so then like one of them was standing next to me, and I looked, and they said hi, and I like fully feel like I was like, hello?
Oh
like,
my God. They were so good. They were also late like every single day. Like they would send us an update of them like had to jump over the fence to get in the corral. So
I mean, none of that surprises me considering they rolled up to Rocking the Knob like 3 seconds before the race
started.
Like, he was like literally pinning his bib on as he was crossing the start line practically.
Yeah. So but they looked great. So they stayed with us. Did they stay with us for the 5K? And then for the 10K, or maybe they stayed with, I forget. They stayed with us with one, but not the other. I don't think they ran with us for the 10K because I think they wanted to walk the whole thing.
Yeah, they were with you for the 5K.
Yeah.
Because that was where you guys, well, not you guys, but everyone else caught, because I crossed the finish line at the same time as them, along with Ren Disnerd and that crew, because they lost you someplace.
Yeah, because we jumped in line to get a photo with Megan and we yelled and no one stopped.
Okay,
oh, yeah. We did the 5K with Ren Disnerd, so I don't think we shared that. That was awesome.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because he's in my finish line photo, which I vaguely remember your whole cluster coming towards me, because Angie and Andrew, I was looking at their pictures, and they were in my pictures, and I was like, wait, we crossed the finish line together? I was very confused.
Yeah, so we didn't get like as many photos as I normally do for 5 or 10K.
Yeah.
We had the meetup after the 10K.
Well, Tom and I had the ACS brunch first after that. So we didn't really stick around in the parking lot for after the 10K because we had to go. I mean, we said hi to a bunch of people actually, because I kept saying we have to go. And then we kept not going. Yeah. Both my fault and your fault.
I had to go to the hospital with hypothermia.
Oh my God.
Oh, I swear to God, guys, after the 10K, I walk up to Michael. Dramatic. How's everything going? His response was literally, I think I have hypothermia. And I just laughed in his face.
I was literally shivering at the finish line for like
it was
an hour.
Cold. That was a really
the problem
cold
was
day.
If I had brought a dry shirt, I would have been fine, but I did not.
Mm.
So it was really just my stupid mistake.
Yeah. And I think that was one of the days I had throwaway shirt and pants. And I think that was the day I had throwaway shirt and pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hung out a little bit. We saw people, then we left. I went back so that I could shower and get ready. We went to the ACS brunch. It was perfectly nice. We got food and it was an all you could eat kind of buffet, Mickey waffles, eggs, very basic stuff, bacon. They celebrated Tom and I's team for being the top fundraising team. Whoop whoop, us.
It's pretty awesome.
Woo.
And then I refused to actually pay attention to any of the speakers because I did not want to cry. Okay. So I played on my phone the entire time people were speaking.
That's why I didn't go.
Erin,
I apologize to everyone who spoke there that I was not paying attention. But as soon as the first person started talking about like someone dying, I was like, I can't do this.
I was judging the ever-loving crap out of you the entire time because I was sitting next to you and I'm listening to these people speak and talk about tell their stories, and I'm like, Erin is just in her phone this entire time, and I cannot wait till I get to see Diana and talk trash about Erin being in her phone this entire time.
To be fair, this is the first time hearing of it, so he did not.
But I will talk trash on myself because I was perfectly aware of what was happening and what I was doing, because the first person that goes up and starts talking about their experience with cancer, and I was like, I have been through this before because I raised money for Fred's team for New York City, and we had the same exact thing where we went to the dinner and they had all these people get up there and talk about their cancer experiences or why they were running or like their battle, either their battle with cancer, their parents' battle with cancer, their kids' battle with cancer. And I was like, I cannot do this. And so I sat on my phone.
Just one quick shout out there. Thank you to absolutely everybody that donated. Mm-hmm. It was really, really awesome. So
yeah,
thank you.
Agreed. Thank you. And then we went to Disney Springs in the Snarkmobile. Snarky Snacker drove Tom and I to Disney Springs where we were going to have our meetup. We stopped and had a quick drink over at Jock's because I wanted people to be able to get to the meetup before Tom did. Why was that, Tom?
Because Erin, you coordinated one of the nicest things that's ever happened. Like, you had Raw Threads make a custom shirt that said, OMG, it's Tom from Will Run For. And then, unbeknownst to me, obviously, you got a whole bunch of people to buy the shirt and then wear the shirt. So when I was at like a food truck, I turned around and everyone, there's like a sea of like dark, like blue-ish, and it's the shirt. And I'm like, what is this shirt that everyone's got on? That was amazing. That was the nicest thing.
I bought you your very own shirt that says hello and welcome to your Will Run For. The back.
Yes.
This is your host, Tom.
So that was amazing. Everything about that meetup was the best thing. Like, It's just like so many people that we either know just from being online or have met in the past. And like so many people took time out of their day and out of their regularly scheduled trip to come and hang out and spend time with us. And we were there for an hour or so, or like, it was just really nice. It was so great to meet everybody and say hi and actually have conversations, like people don't have to do that. They don't have to engage with us, but they do. And we love them for it.
Yeah. I talked to Lisa Knits and Trains for a long time. I talked to Jessica Rand for a long time. And I don't know if I've ever gotten a chance to really sit down and talk with them. So that was awesome.
Yeah. There was a lot of people there. It was really fun. If I tried to name all of you, I would miss some of you. So I'm not going to attempt to. I would say the biggest surprise for me that at our meetup was my friend Brittany that I have been biking with. She listens to the podcast. She was on an Inside the Runner Studio semi recently. She had told everyone she wasn't coming to Disney weekend, and then all of a sudden she was like standing in front of me, and I was in the middle of a conversation with two other people, and I'm like looking at her, and it's not like my brain's not quite registering what is happening. And I look at her husband. I'm like, that's definitely her husband, because her husband, like, I've seen hundreds of pictures of her husband, and that's definitely their baby. And it like was this whole moment of like me trying to figure out why Brittany was standing in front of me. So she came. Apparently, her husband had been listening to our podcast and was like, "We have to be in Disney Springs on Friday to surprise them." So they came and surprised us. I thought that was super nice.
You know what else happened that day? I was the most traumatized I've ever been in my
I was waiting for this
life.
one. I was waiting for Diana I can't believe it took this long.
I have never been so traumatized. Like, I know that girl was traumatized, but I feel like it was worse for me. Honestly.
The girl that I chased down was less traumatized than you?
Yes, because when I found out, my whole worldview was shook.
Can I set the kind of the context for it? So
absolutely,
when we saw when we were at the Expo, and we kept seeing like these people in Rise and Run shirts, we kept making comments to them that they had better merch than us, and their merch game was on point, and we need to step up our game. So then when we're at our meetup and everyone's in our shirt, like a shirt specifically for Will Run For, and we see this random girl walk by in a Rise and Run shirt, I'm like, let's get a picture with her and send it to them. That would be funny because we're all in the same shirt, and it'll show them that we also can do merch, right? And it was just kind of like a funny thing. And then
only I went and made it happen.
Erin has a baby in her hands and runs up to this girl who was just trying to get food from a food truck.
Yes.
And is like, hey, will you be in a picture with us? We know the podcast of the shirt that you're wearing, but we also have it, and we think it'd be a funny picture.
I figured if I was holding the baby, I'd be more unassuming.
And that girl, and then like it
I was like in a conversation with someone, so I didn't see any of this.
Yeah, and like it happens with any picture, it takes forever to corral us all and get us all in the right spot. This girl is just sitting there and just standing there, like not talking to anybody. And then Diana comes up and I think, I'm sorry, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I think Diana was like, we clearly know this girl, right? Like this girl knows
They were
us.
like, we're taking a picture with her. And I just assumed she was there for our meetup.
Nope, she was just wandering through for some food.
I chased her down with a baby.
And then
in reality, she was there for the meetup because we know who sent her.
All right. And then there are two things that I thought were traumatizing for me personally. One is I thought we knew her. So like I put my arm around her. Second, I was like, well, we should all make these mean faces because that's funny, right? Which I never would have done if I knew she was a complete stranger.
Tom's face in that picture, when you zoom into his face, is hilarious too. That's great.
So I'm like, let's take a picture with this girl and just pretend like we don't like her. Like, what? And then I didn't know she wasn't with us until like 5 minutes after the photo was taken, and Erin's telling the story, and I go, "Excuse me."
Did we ever get her name?
No,
right,
not a clue.
So if you're out there, or if someone knows her and knows her from the picture, we will publicly apologize for what went on. We did not mean to accost you. Erin didn't mean to threaten you with a baby.
Look, I feel like I'm the real victim here. Honestly, this is.
Oh boy! All right. Yeah. I mean, that was our meetup. It was so much fun. I loved meeting everyone. Thank you, everyone who came out to it. Like I said, there was like so many more people than we could possibly name.
Melissa Harrell.
I'm gonna miss people. Yeah, Erica. I'm super excited to get to meet them. I don't know, Kristen O. There's so many people. I don't want to if
so
I start naming people, I'm gonna miss people. And we had people come in and leave, and then more people come in and leave because like Ren Disnard was there for a little while, and then Linda came a little later. So like it was a lot of people.
It was a
we
ton
were able to get
people.
a picture with the bulk of the group. So we apologize if you missed the group picture. But yeah, can't wait to do it again.
Absolutely. That picture is probably one of my favorite pictures from the entire weekend. It was just, everything about it was so special. So thank you.
And then the entire weekend, everyone was yelling at you, OMG, it's Tom from Will Run For.
Yeah.
Price of fame, Tom. Price of fame.
Yeah, I know. And I kind of ham it up, and I love it, but like, I kind of want to get on a soapbox about this, but we'll wait in a minute. But like, everybody else was also there running their own races, and like, I don't want that to be overlooked just because I'm a ham. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody there
no, Tom,
put in the work.
That's not the way it is.
I know, but that's how I feel.
No, so absolutely not.
Don't devalue my feelings.
I'm not. I'm just saying that everyone wouldn't do it for you if they didn't hold value to you.
I appreciate absolutely everybody that was there, and I've never been worthy of a tenth of that kind of attention. So thank you. Let's talk about the half marathon.
Yeah.
I can't even remember it.
I kind of remember
remember the thing I remember most about the half marathon is getting a text while I was at like mile 8 from Tom canceling dinner plans, and I'm like, why is
that was that day.
Running a half marathon, canceling dinner plans right now. What is happening? And I was like, I texted Michael. I'm like, Tom's having a meltdown because he just canceled dinner plans while in the middle of running.
Oh, Tom had a meltdown at like he did. I guess it was, I don't know. He does this sometimes at like the half mile mark. Like he didn't even make it to the first mile before he started melting down. So this is day 3 of me getting bitched at for races. So,
aww, that's called love, Diana. That's called love.
Never again. I'll tell you that.
I mean, what I guess half marathon is pretty brief in the fact that I went into that race not really knowing what I was going to do. I was not in a great headspace when I woke up in the morning. I was tired. I didn't slept well. I didn't feel great. I thought to myself, if I'm just going to make it to Magic Kingdom, and after that, because I wanted to run through the castle, get a castle picture. And then I thought, whatever happens in Cone Alley happens in Cone Alley. I'll just stop. I found my friend Melissa and Sarah. I sat with them in the corral. But they were planning to do, I don't know, fast intervals. It was like 30-15s or 15-30. I don't know. They were doing intervals. And I was like, I'm not feeling that. I'm just going to run. So I ended up like, I'm going to run on my own and see what happens until I can't run anymore. I ran a bit. I wasn't even planning to do character stops. I was like, I'm just going to run and get this over with because I'm not feeling this. I saw Beast. There was a really short line. So I got in line. I was like, all right. I didn't feel terrible by that point. That was like mile 2. I didn't feel terrible by that point. So I got in the line. Melissa and Sarah had passed me. And so I caught up to them at some point. And then I ended up kind of like staying with them. I got in line for Max because that was super short. And then I kind of ended up with them. So I feel like I was in a little bit of a better mental space. I still wasn't really sure whether or not I was going to finish because I don't know. I didn't want to push my body to some place that it wasn't ready for. So I was like, I'll keep going and see what happens. Sarah was running really well. She wanted to she's like a sprinter when her intervals are like sprint walk.
That's kind of what Lisa does.
Yeah, Melissa wasn't really feeling that either for the fact that she still had to do the marathon the next day. So she's like, well, maybe I'll just let her go and then I'll hang back with you. So then that kind of put me into the space of like, okay, I'm going to run with Melissa the whole rest of the time. And I said this to her a couple times. If it hadn't been for her, I don't know that I would have finished. the half marathon because I went into the half marathon completely expecting not to, but I ended up having fun and staying with her. And we did a ton of characters. I got some really great photo pass again. So I ended up having a lot of fun. And that was my race.
Oh.
I don't remember if I did characters for the half.
Yes, you did, because that's when you got a picture with that squirrel.
The squirrel, that's right. The squirrel was that day.
And you got a picture with Jafar because you sent the Jafar picture to us. And then Melissa and I did the imitation picture where we did whatever the heck it was that you were doing.
I was supposed to be showing that I was in love with him.
Oh.
Because he's Jafar.
We thought you were shocked. We were like...
whatever.
I don't know.
So my picture strategy is if there's nobody in line, I get a picture. If there's anybody in line, I just run past.
There was a squirrel that you got a picture
with.
With.
There was some squirrel on the course. But I will
disrespectful.
I will say I took Tom's advice at one point. So when I got to was that Florida Way, Cone Alley.
Yeah.
It was pitch black. And so we're running down the one lane and coming up the other way is a cop car with all the lights on full blast, blinding everyone. So it's pitch black and there's somebody blinding you.
Oh my God.
And there's those reflectors in the road. So I actually turned a light on my phone and lit the way.
Wow.
There you go.
Imagine if I had a flashlight in my hand. It would have even been better. So Tom was right. You got to be safe. You got to keep everyone else safe. You just got to make sure nobody trips. That's really the game.
See, and they'll make fun of you for having the anxiety.
It was,
but it was
basically like running with your eyes closed.
You saved one person, Michael.
Maybe somebody would have hit one of those and tripped and fell on a stack of cones.
A stack of cones.
Well, there's like a cone every 3 inches.
It's the Cone Alley. Yes, Cone Alley.
My race was fine. I had no idea what I was going to do that day. Like I was thinking about trying to do a proof of time that day because it was really nice weather. But really nice. Honestly, we hadn't really slept that great for 2 nights, and my body was like sore from the pull down mattress at Poly. So when I started running, I was like, nah, I'm not really feeling it. So I just ran a nice, steady, consistent race, and because I wanted to be able to go through the full comfortably. So
nice.
I didn't do anything crazy, and I hopped in some pictures and had fun.
And then you got a picture with a squirrel.
Got a picture with a squirrel.
Who has said squirrel?
I don't know. Is it the one from Pocahontas? Is that what it's from?
Yes, it's a raccoon from Pocahontas.
It's a raccoon.
Okay.
Miko.
It's a raccoon.
He said that at dinner. Like he was like describing. We all went to Ohana for dinner, and he's like, "Yeah, I stopped for photos. I got Jafar," and he's like, "Some squirrel," and all of us were like, "Squirrel."
We're like, there was no squirrel.
And then he like described where it was, and we were like,
the
Miko?
Raccoon? Are you talking about Miko? He's like, I don't know. We're like, oh my God.
Oh God.
That's why I say Michael is a Disney Parks fan. He is not a Disney fan. Yeah. There is a difference.
Yes.
Oh, look, these things happen.
It happens.
It's fine.
I got pictures with things on Marathon Day. I don't even know what they were from.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I assume it was like some
I'm going to have to look at your Marathon
90s
pictures now. I don't remember.
TV shows or something that I don't know.
Oh my God.
But can we talk about how many times they played like
the same songs over and over?
DuckTales or like
songs.
Rescue Rangers? Like, I mean, are millennials the most insufferable humans on the planet?
Yes,
like,
we are.
Don't, my God.
But no, it wasn't even that because I heard Be Our Guest like a million times too. There was like a bunch of songs that they just like overplayed everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard the DuckTales thing a million times.
I heard that a lot.
I don't know.
Well, I did Tinkerbell, and I think this was 2016 or 2017, and literally the entire, I think it was 10K, they just played Following the Leader over and over and over again.
Oh God.
It was traumatizing. I don't know why they do that. They kept playing Powerline, which I love, but by the end,
I love Powerline. Yeah, I agree.
And then they were playing some like cool 90s stuff all weekend, but it was like the same 4 90s songs.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And some of them weren't even hype 90s songs. They were like slow 90s songs. They were like
the love ballads.
What is happening? Like, why are we, of all the musical choices you could have picked, why are we picking the slow ballads?
It's weird.
They kept playing End of the Road.
Yeah. Like such a weird choice.
Yeah. Oh,
such a weird choice.
Half marathon day was the day I got to yell at people.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. So, I was running past or heading towards the Contemporary, went down under the waterway, where it's downhill, where you go under the waterway overpass. And there was a Roll Disney person, wheelchair athlete next to me, and she's like, I could hear, like, she was like trying to yell at people to get out of the way, and nobody's listening because nobody in these races pays attention to anything. You got to pay attention, people. Take your headphones out. So I sprinted down the sidewalk and just started screaming at people to move right as loud as I possibly could. And then the people who didn't move right, I directly screamed at them and pointed them out by their clothing because, like, that's a very tight area and there's a curb on one side and it's very dangerous for the wheelchair athletes. And you really gotta pay attention and get your head out of your ass if you're running there.
Yeah.
Like, I understand you're in a Disney race and having fun, but there's other people in it too, and you need to pay attention for them.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was tight there and it was pitch black because that was the point where Tom pulled out his flashlight and people were thanking him because it was so dark.
It was dark.
Like, why don't they have lights there?
It is very dark there. There is no road lighting there. Yeah.
Yeah. It was bad.
Except for under the bridge itself. Everything else is like pitch black.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was bad.
It's a dark spot. But I did like coming in the front of Magic Kingdom.
I like that
course.
too.
It was a good course. Yeah.
Yeah. That's always a good course. Yeah. For the half, we first busted again and went directly to the park, which was amazing.
There you go.
So no issues. So we got there early enough where we got a picture with Flick before we moved to the corral. We hung out. We talked to everybody before heading off. And then our plan was to kind of fun run this. So because I knew Tom wasn't going to want to do anything for the full. So I was like, oh, good. We'll stop in Corral B. We'll do lots of photos. This will be kind of our fun run. It was kind of him and I by ourselves because I don't think anybody else was really in B where we were. So we got kind of to the front of the corral and took off. And then we stopped almost immediately and got a picture with Esmeralda because I don't think I've ever gotten a photo with her. So I was excited, and Sam Gano jumped in. Mm-hmm. And then shortly after that, Tom started melting down. And then continued that way for the rest of the race.
I don't know how I missed you guys because we both started in B. I definitely would have, because you said that you went back and forth with Melissa and her friend Sarah.
At least for the first couple of miles.
Yeah. And so then I don't know how I missed you. I had to have passed you when I stopped at Beast because I caught up with them because they passed me, which means you guys had to have passed me. I somehow missed you.
Yeah. And we were able to jump in photos with a couple of people. I think we jumped in with Megan Avis once. I think we jumped in with maybe Susanna or somebody once. But Tom wasn't really feeling great. Like, we weren't having like a great run. So we didn't really stop and get in line anywhere. And then Tom texted you that he wanted to cancel dinner.
Yeah. It's true.
And we ran into people.
Did you know he had done that, actually?
I said, if you're going to do it, you have to do it now because he was talking about it. So our plan was to do 5 or 6 miles at our correct interval, flip the interval for 5 miles, and then walk out the last 3. And that was our plan. And then we ran into friends right after Magic Kingdom, like coming out of there. The good bathrooms were open. I will not mention the good bathrooms and where they are, but they were actually open. And Susanna found me and she's like, "Did you just come out of there? They were closed for wine and dine." I was like, "Yep, they were open."
I know where you're talking about.
The other cool thing about the half marathon was the teacups were open and the carousel were open, which I've never seen during a half marathon. So I might have stopped for those, but we just we were not doing well. So we just kept going. And then I thought maybe running into people would kind of brighten where we were up. It did not help.
Tom, you're a man of very few words today.
Because I remember these events so differently, but I'm not gonna argue at all over them. Whatever, perception is reality.
What how do you remember? I would like to hear your experience.
I feel like the half was fine. Like, I just didn't want it to be an event. I wanted it to just go by and be over. And because I wasn't feeling terrible afterwards, like, honestly, when I finished that race, I felt like I had more to give. And I was very happy that I wasn't ready to die after it because we knew the full was coming up. So in my head, and because Diana was like, you got to make a decision because they have to change their reservation or add someone new to the dinner reservation. Like, I just wanted to make a decision. And my decision was to not put any more like strain on anything. So I was like, we'll just cancel. So I just canceled. It wasn't because I hated everything. I just canceled because I didn't want to leave the room after the half. And then y'all were like, you got to go to dinner, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, so I feel really good after the race. And I'm like, all right, can we go to dinner now? I know it's changing my mind, but heaven help me if I do that. So then we went to dinner and I felt fine. Like, that's how I perceived it, but that's not how everyone perceived it. So it's fine. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Dopey's not going to happen again for me. So it's fine.
Honestly, I didn't know. When I got the text, that's what when I texted Michael, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if he's panicking. If he is, then I feel like he should go out to dinner with us anyway.
So that's just what it was.
Yeah. When he said it to me, it was things were hurting. He didn't feel good. He was in a crappy mood and he didn't want to go.
Okay.
But then it worked itself out. Yeah. So it was like,
it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you said you felt good that night after the race, or evening or afternoon or whatever the hell it was. Like, who knows?
Yeah, Michael did his little interview with you, and you sounded good. Sounded ready to go for the next day.
And that lasted until about mile 12.
That's pretty good.
That's
honestly,
good. Yeah.
That's pretty. When you add up all the distances that you did the previous 3 days, like getting to mile 12 without feeling like crap is actually, I feel like, is an achievement.
No, I mean, I loved running down Main Street. We got a PhotoPass photo in front of the castle. We stopped for one or two or whatever pictures. Like, I don't know. It's hard even to remember the half because they all blend together.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I couldn't even remember. I'm pretty sure I did a castle picture for the half because it was dark out, and I was like, I'm not sure how dark it's going to be for the full, so I'm just going to do it today because it's dark, so it'll look better. But other than, I don't really remember anything much about it other than yelling at people and.
Yeah, the dark didn't really work out for me because you can't even tell the castle's behind me because my shirt was white.
So when it
focused on me, and so the castle is like completely like there's almost no castle behind me.
Oh god, it's all washed out.
I'm glad I got this picture.
Yeah, we did as we were coming onto Main Street during the half. I was like filming, and then all of a sudden, Bill and Jennifer Taylor were in front of us. And they did like the cutest little unscripted kiss, like right in front of us as they were coming onto Main Street. So I got a really cute video of that. And then I called them pervs and told them to get out of the way.
All right. This episode's going to be supersized. What about full day? We've kind of talked about our dinner already. So let's move on to the full.
Corrals early. I feel like everybody went to the corrals early on full day.
Yeah. We didn't even get to see you in the morning because I didn't even think about it. I didn't bring my Dopey bib with me. So I couldn't even get past where you guys were to just even say good luck to you guys because I didn't bring my bib with me. And they were after a gear check over by those porta potties going towards the corrals. You had to have your bib on at that point.
Yeah.
So we didn't even get to see you that morning.
God, that is a long walk though.
That's the Mylar March. And if you haven't experienced that before, I know we did it for the half, but it's a long walk.
It's a long walk.
Especially for the full, like people were just waiting in that kind of quarter before they opened up the corrals. So like there was that huge crowd that was forming just to get into the corrals to get as far forward. So like that just adds on time on your feet.
Yeah, and then now that they have you go through Epcot actual security and they do the bus drop off, and you know where the monorail is, where you go that way instead of the bus drop off used to be much closer. Now you have to go all the way through the bus line, all the way through security, all the way around the ball, all the way back around to the finish line area. I mean, it's a long walk just to get to the start area. And then from the start area, you still have to walk to the corrals.
Yeah.
I mean, you've walked a long distance before you've even started the marathon.
Yeah, it's really far.
It's got to be 2 miles, right?
Yeah, I was about to say 2 miles, but I felt like maybe I was over exaggerating. But I don't know. It's possible it's 2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
From the buses to the corrals. I mean, it's got to be pretty darn close,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. And it wasn't as bad during the full, but during the half, walking to the corrals, we kind of left probably not as early as Tom would have liked to start walking back there. And then we had to walk back, and it was kind of like in the grass, in the dark.
Oh, yeah.
As we were going up to B. So there was like a level of stress before even getting to the corral. So I think he wanted to avoid all of that for the full.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Get there, sit down, rest,
Mm-hmm.
relax, wait for everything to kick off. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't really see too many people that morning. I think most people just decided to go to the
there.
corrals.
Yeah.
I was cheering. I still came to the start line just because in order to take the monorail back over to Magic Kingdom, which opened at 4:30, and I was meeting friends. I could have stayed. I was staying at Poly. I could have just walked to the TTC and met them there. But then you run the risk of not being able to find each other, and we wanted to all cheer together. So I ended up just going to the start line. So we saw some people, but not that many that morning. That morning was definitely everyone wanted to get to the corrals kind of morning.
Yep.
And I mean, we had a plan. We very much talked about the plan. I don't know how anybody could have misconstrued what our plan was, but it was 2-1s to about the midpoint, or like a half marathon, whatever, like 12 or 13. Flip it and do 1 and 2s. And then, and I think this is where maybe the miscommunication definitely came in, because in my head I was like, if we can get about 20 miles in about 5 hours, that would give us enough time if we had to walk out the last 6. So that was the plan, but maybe not walking out the last 6 was the actual plan.
That was
a huge point of
huge
point of contention.
My feet hurt so bad. I was on the verge of tears.
Well, walking is so much different than running.
It hurt.
I said that last year.
So bad.
Walking, my feet hurt worse last year during the marathon than I've ever experienced, and again, it's because of as much walking. It's just such a different feel on your foot.
Yeah, everyone was
especially fast walking.
Yeah. And walking out 3 is one thing, because it was bad. The day before it was bad walking out 3, especially how fast Tom walks. Like everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's like booking it." When we were doing the half the day before, like it was funny because like Tom was, I don't know, 15 or 20 feet ahead of us walking the last 3 miles of the half. Like it was kind of like the girls in the back. And then for the full, everyone tried to like at least keep up with him. But yeah, it was like everyone, like my feet hurt so bad.
Yeah, I feel like doing a faster walk than you're used to for a long period of time can hurt.
Like my hips were hurting.
Even your muscle. I was gonna say all the rest of your body too. Like if you're not walk training, then like the whole rest of your muscles are all using different parts.
Yeah, and so like a lot of the character lines for the full weren't as long. So they were short enough where I could jump in a character photo and then run to catch up. And I did that. And Greg and I did that a few times, and it seemed to help.
Yeah, he was saying that you guys were like dead steady for like the first 20, really. Like spot on. Because you had the same gap to the Balloon Ladies or whatever, like the whole way.
Oh,
like, from start to 20, they gained nothing on you guys. I mean, probably was actually opened up a little bit.
Yeah.
Anything notable about the race? Any notable spots? Any people? Any characters?
Yeah, I don't know, Tom. I mean, it was kind of like you're full, so want to talk through.
What was it like? What was the first full like?
I don't know, because in it and then after it, definitely a lot of different kind of feelings. Almost 100%, almost polar opposite. But
yeah,
Greg. So Greg in Orlando, big shout out. I mean, you're just an awesome person, but like him and Diana pacing as consistently as they did the entire time.
Yeah, Greg decided that he wanted to run with Tom to help, so he actually met us in the corral.
Yeah, but their pacing gave us such a buffer on the balloon ladies that pretty much the entire Dopey experience, they weren't even a factor in my head. Like between corral placement, because we started in B for the half and the full.
And I think we were in the first group of B for the full.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were all the way up because I was at the back of A and I could see you guys looking over the thing.
Yeah. But then just them pacing for the first, half of the full, like that just gave us such breathing room on any consideration that the balloon ladies would be anywhere near or any part of our experience. And I know our experience is going to differ from a lot of different people's experiences, but like they weren't even a factor.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that was incredible. Greg did this thing around mile 2 where he was like, "How you feeling?" I'm like, "I'm all right." And he's like, "Can we just take the word quitting off the table?" He's like, and I guess he does that mentally for himself. Like that's just part of his thing. And he did this like little hand gesture where he like kind of forms a snowball with his hand. And he's like, "Can we just do this and take quitting off the table?" And I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Okay, so quitting is off the table. So now that word is not going to be used today." I was like, "Yes." I don't know. I was like, that was both weird and very effective and very much appreciated. Like, because like it's such a mental game. Like the whole thing is 100%. Very, very, very mental. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm the absolute weakest is my mental game. So like that helped. And then knowing that like we weren't really talking about our pace. We weren't talking about anything related to the balloon ladies, even though Diana had them, like she could track them.
Yeah. I knew where they were. I was texting Erin, but I was also tracking them. I was checking the pace at every single mile to see where we were.
That's sort of where what I did like in years that I've paced people is like you yourself. The pacer person needs to know where they are, but you never let the person that you are running with know unless it's a moment where you have to be like, all right, this is what we need to do. Yeah. And even then it's very much like, okay, you know mentally where they are. So now you're just encouraging them to move a little faster so that way without being like, hey, the balloon ladies are right behind us. Because like there's that whole...
Yeah. At one point I told them where they were because I thought it would help them because we were so far ahead. Like at one point we were like 5 miles ahead of them.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And so when I was like at a 16-minute mile, like how many, how long it is. Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that you have to remember is not only are you that far ahead of them, but you would have to slow down so much more because no matter what, you're still moving forward. Even if you're doing a 20-minute mile at that point, you're still moving forward and they're still doing a 16-minute mile. So they're never going to be able to, if you're already at mile 20, mathematically it would take a lot for them to catch you because you're still moving even if you slow down.
Because I saw the gap because when you come back past the start line again at mile 4 and literally the balloon ladies were going off as I was going past mile 4. So I was like, oh, you guys and you guys start at like 5 seconds after me. So I was like, oh, they got a 4-mile head start on them. I was like, oh, that's like.
Yeah. And then you build that because they're going 16 and you're going faster than 16. Yep. So you're still building on that gap. And then even when you slow down, you're basically catching back up to the original gap of where they started.
Yep, exactly.
When you start slowing.
We never saw them the entire race. Like I was like, oh my God, we're going to be going into Animal Kingdom. And then when we're leaving Animal Kingdom, he's going to see him coming in. We didn't see them once all weekend.
Not at all.
Nice. At any of the races.
That's a pretty big gap. Like that Animal Kingdom kind of loopy out and back is a long gap
long.
where you can see people who are pretty far behind you.
Yeah.
So the fact that you didn't see them there is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This weird thing happens, I guess, with your first marathon or your first Dopey or whatever it is, but like, at least it happened to me. Like, I didn't believe it was going to actually turn out positive the entire time. Like, literally the entire time until the margarita stand. Like, I just don't believe that I could have physically done that. I didn't believe it. I didn't buy it. I didn't feel like I belonged there. I didn't feel like if I didn't have these people Sherpa-ing me the entire way, like I could have done it by myself. Like the amount of self-doubt that is still in your head when you're so close to it. Like, so even when we hit mile 20, I'm like, there's no way that those balloon ladies are going to catch us, but they're probably going to catch us and they're going to be chasing me into the parks, and I'm still going to not complete this task that started 3 months prior, right? Like, you don't believe it. Like, I didn't believe that I had any business being there with the amount of people that people were dropping like flies. Like, Erin, you were going to be Dopey. Like, Anna was going to be there. Like, Maria was going to be there. Like, the girl that was dressed like Joe Pesci, like, she got sick kind of during it. Like, people were like dropping out had absolutely every business being there before me. Like, I just couldn't possibly
That's not
believe.
true, though.
It doesn't matter if it's not true. This is the self-talk, right? This is the self-doubt. And I'm dragging Diana and Greg, who are much more accomplished runners than me, like, and put in the work. And like, Diana felt like she could have done Dopey 3 weeks prior to Dopey. Like, she felt that good, right? Like, but somehow I'm there and I'm about to complete it. Like, it was the weirdest kind of feeling where you're about to do something that, for all intents and purposes, you don't feel like you should be there, right? And that's just kind of the self-doubt. And that all hit me at like
imposter syndrome, right?
It's imposter syndrome. That all hit me when we're coming around World Showcase, and I just get this like head rush and I just start crying. And it's weird because now the parks are open and we're surrounded by people.
Yes, it's not just people cheering the race now. It's just randos.
And like everyone's there and we're just kind of marching our way in. And this is before we saw you at the margarita stand. And Mark kind of saw out of the corner of his eye me like kind of taking these deep gulp breaths and like trying to like slowly exhale. And like, it's just these kind of, my head is like pulsing with this kind of emotion. And I'm like, good God, I'm going to die. And then I'm like, I had to put on my glasses because I'm like, people are going to start noticing and just make this a bigger thing than it needs to be. But like, it's the weirdest thing. It's just the weirdest sensation doing something that you've thought about for the longest time. Whereas like when we started running, I'm like, I can't even run a mile. I couldn't do a 5K. I can't do it. That whole thing builds. And then Dopey, like, are you out of your mind to try a full marathon with all of this other stuff in front of it on your legs when I'm a pretty sedentary guy in general? Like, that's amazing to me. But like, I could not have done that without the people that were side by side, right? Because like you can't complete Dopey unless you do back-to-back runs in early November at 5 a.m. in like the freezing cold. Like, you have to prepare for this. And Diana put this all on my calendar and took all of the guesswork out of it. And it's like, okay, so now this is what the plan is during the week. This is the plan on the weekends. These are the recovery days. This is the reason why we're not going to happy hour every other Friday, because like, it is such a commitment. I'm a bit on my soapbox right now, but like, it is such a commitment. And when it starts, when that 5K starts, you're in it. Yeah. You can't make a dumb decision and do a monorail bar crawl. And that's all I wanted to do. God, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to go to Jelly Rolls, and I wanted to do this, and I wanted to eat way too much at Ohana's and all of this stuff, right? Like, because you want to enjoy it during it, but like, the task is the task, and it's the finish line of the full.
Yeah, and we did everything, I think, the right way, because we decided we're not going to go into the parks on any of the race days. We're going to stay on our feet just enough. So we had some dinner reservations one day, like we mini golfed, that kind of stuff. But the last thing I wanted to happen to Tom was what happened to me last time I did it, where my feet hurt so bad during the half and the full, I could barely go on because my feet hurt so bad. So even if my legs weren't trashed, my feet hurt. We ran into Andrew and Angie. And they said we only stayed with them for a couple of minutes because they said the same thing, that the walking was hurting more. Angie looked at me and she's like, Diana, my feet hurt so bad. I've been contemplating doing stupid things like taking off my shoes. She's like, that's how bad my feet hurt right now. And I said, that's how I felt I felt that way in the corral of the full. Yeah. So I think we did that the right way. And Tom, like literally the entire time was just booking it. His walking pace at any point during that marathon was so damn fast. So I stopped in Animal Kingdom to get a beer, and he was walking so fast, I didn't catch him until outside of Animal Kingdom.
Oh, wow.
And I was running. I was like taking gulps of beer and then running. I was sticky. It was all over me, like trying to catch up with him to get that. And then we ran in like Mark and Megan, and we found Nikki at that point, and that was mile like 17, and they were doing 30-second runs, 1-minute walks, and I said, that's perfect. So we switched, and we did that for a few miles before he wanted to walk out. But I thought, because that was such a doable interval, we might do that for a little bit longer, but we didn't. And then in Hollywood Studios, I said I was going to get a margarita, and Tom wanted one too, but you had to kind of get off course and run past the course. And so Greg and I did that, and we like sprinted to the margarita stand and came back on course and actually stood there because we were like, there's no way they could have caught up to us by now. And they had ended up passing us because Tom was walking so fast. Oh, so then we had to run again to catch up with them longer. And I finally had to start screaming. I saw him and I started screaming to slow the F down, because he was going too fast. And I was like trying to run with like 2 full margaritas. Like, so he didn't even like slow down, like when like people were like going to the bathroom and stuff. Like he was on a mission.
Well, I, for one, am very proud of you. I don't know whether, Michael, do you want to say anything about your experience before I go into cheering and seeing Tom at the finish?
Sure. All right, mine's quick. I woke up, felt terrible when I woke up, wanted to go back to sleep. I was like, it was one of those mornings where, like the fourth morning of Dopey, I was like, I just want to go back to bed. So I was like, so I got up, I drug myself out there. I'm like, I'm just going to go nice and easy until I blow up, because I'm definitely blowing up because I feel terrible. Oh. And just because I was exhausted, I've been sleeping in the stupid bed all week, like.
We slept separately the entire week because after the first night, we're like, we cannot do this. And we pulled down the pull down thing, and we slept in separate beds.
So we do that a lot of times before a race weekend. The only reason why we did not. Yeah, we were sharing space with people. So we couldn't do that this time. Yeah. And I had so much nervous energy. Like I didn't sleep well the entire time. And I was getting out of bed at like 1:15 every morning, like where I just couldn't stay in bed anymore.
I forgot what the night of the full, I just didn't sleep that great. Yeah. And then I'm like whatever. I'll just like run as far as I can and just walk it out. Like it is what it is. And then weirdly, I had like a super consistent, easy race relatively. I mean, I don't want to throw easy out there. It was a marathon still. I had a hydration plan and a fueling plan just because it's a marathon and you can't just like wing it. Mm-hmm. And I actually everything went perfectly, and I just ran a very steady, comfortable race where I never felt like I was pushing or stressed. I never
love it.
Yeah, your back half was faster than your front half because I was obviously tracking all.
Well, because my plan was like I'm not going to stress myself in the beginning, and I was like, oh
yeah. I love that.
But at the end, I was like, I do want to get done because it's starting to get hot.
Yeah, so it was getting warm at the end. I never thought it got too warm because I don't know. I just love running in the heat.
I prefer it. Yeah.
Like the couple days it was cold.
Hot
it hurt.
standing there.
Yeah.
The sun was strong, I will say. Yeah.
So I'll talk about cheering, but the part about Michael and cheering was we had to get to Epcot.
Oh yeah.
So he was running at a certain like I was tracking everyone. So he's running at whatever pace he was originally running, and I'm like, he is sped up. And now I'm like, am I even going to get to see him at Epcot? Because like I have to get through into Epcot. We got on the line.
You expect the back end to be way slower.
Yeah. So we get into line at Starbucks, and I'm looking at the Find My, because the tracking was a little wonky to begin with, where, you know, it would say that this person's at this mile. And I know it's based on like average paces, so it's like always a little wonky. So I'm like looking at it, says I still have a little time because it's basing it on his beginning like splits. So it's like I still have like 10 minutes to get over there before he's going to come through World Showcase. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll stand in line for Starbucks. I should still be fine. And then I look at Find My, because I thought to myself, oh, I forgot that I have that. So I look up Find My, and he's coming into World Showcase. And I'm like, oh no. Like, I thought I still had like 10 minutes. So now, because you know how during the marathon, for anyone who doesn't do Run Disney, actually, they open the parks. And so in order for them to move efficiently, the crowds, they basically make a little island of people. So like they route the runners one direction. They pull all the runners in, or the crowds into like a little island of people. And then they move all of the runners over to the other side of the island of people. And that's how they cross. Yeah. So now I'm like, am I even going to make it? I have to get through, I know I'm going to have to stand in this little island of people. So I make it across really quickly. And then I'm literally running in my UFOs, trying to get towards like Mexico so that I could see him.
Yeah, it was around Norway, I think.
Yeah, because I kept running towards him, because I was like, at this point, I'm just going to keep going until I see him.
Yeah, because I was moving pretty solid.
Yeah, and there was no one at that point, like, World Showcase was pretty empty at that point.
It was
like one, he was.
People weren't.
Yeah, it wasn't
back that
like
far yet.
Crowded. Yeah. So luckily, I was able to get to him pretty easily. But I did have the moment of panic of like, I'm not going to see him because he's moving way too fast.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, everything just went right. It was weird. Like, it's the most consistent road race I've had in a long time. It was just everything.
Yeah. I thought the weather was like perfect, because I mean, it did get warm at the end, but like it was great during the morning. Like even when the sun came out, it got warm, but like
not hot
for me. Yeah. I did see people in that I guess had overdressed for the morning that were in long pants and stuff. And I was thinking, oh, if I was wearing that or even capris, I would have been too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say, just a note, because I've never run this course before, the Blizzard Beach parking lot is a hellscape, and
yes,
absolutely.
Wide World of Sports was 1,000 times better. So
I disagree. Still.
Anyone who complained about that, get out of here.
No, I disagree.
Well, so the Wide World of Sports is different because it was like very long. You were in there for like 3 miles. Yeah. Blizzard Beach is very short, but the
feels like it's 10 miles.
The problem is that you are on the road out when you get out of Animal Kingdom. You are on the road for like 2 miles. You go through the Blizzard Beach parking lot for 1 mile, and then you're still on the road for another 2 miles before you get to Hollywood Studios. So that whole part of it just feels like complete torture at like one of the worst parts of the race.
It's awful. And you just see everyone moving in a line.
It's bad.
It's really bad. And we got lucky because there's a little bit of cloud cover, like right as we had gotten there. But I couldn't imagine being out there in that direct sun and that pavement. Ugh.
Yeah. It was terrible.
It was awful.
I don't mind it, I'll say, but I get why I can totally understand why it breaks people.
And it breaks people because it's also the end of the race. And like, because of that out and back, people can see often towards the end of the race. That's when people see the balloon ladies.
Totally understand that.
Yeah. And then like, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, weirdly for me, like I hit that section and I'm like, oh, okay, I have X, Y to here. And then I turn onto the road and I'm like, oh, okay, I have I'm going up to Coronado and then over to here. Like for me, it just works.
And I think it was less daunting when you went through Blizzard Beach itself. And I understand why they are no longer doing it, because it was too tight and it was too small. And like, it was you were in the sand. It was probably a nightmare for them. So I understand why they cut that out. Then I don't understand why they added the Blizzard Beach parking lot at all. Like, why couldn't we figure out someplace else to add that?
Yeah. I mean, don't know. Well, because I think the issue is they need to break up the 2 road sections. And at least you're like, yes, you're going through a parking lot and it's terrible, but you're not. Otherwise, you would be on the road, straight up road for like 5 miles.
Yeah, and there was a character stop in there. They needed a little bit
stuff.
They needed more stuff in there. I don't know what, like something in the middle. Something, I don't know, anything.
If they add stuff to the parking lot, I think it won't be an issue.
Yeah.
But I think what people aren't realizing is if they take that parking lot out, those parking lot miles are going to be on the road. So now you're not even getting broken up in the parking lot, where they do the ice and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to be dead on the road.
No, I think people understand it. They just hate it.
I understand hating it. No, I totally get that. I mean, but the reality is it's a marathon. You're going to have arduous miles somewhere.
Yeah, just
like not
miles.
every mile can be. Yeah, there's just going to be trash miles. And that is a hard one because of where it's at and then with the balloon ladies and all that stuff. So I totally get it.
It was really bad. We didn't see the balloon ladies. We saw our friends coming out while we were going in and realized we weren't that far behind them. So that was good. I did do a video, and I don't know if I think I posted on the Will Run For page, but I did an in memoriam post at the spot where Erin found me crying the last
that's
time.
Amazing.
I missed that somehow.
And I posted it.
Oh man, I totally missed that.
Oh, that's funny.
So I posted that when we got
great.
there. Like I did like a little video saying that, look, I'm not crying.
Oh man.
Oh, that's funny. I totally missed that.
Oh God.
Anything else about cheering? Because I know.
I was just going to talk about cheering a little bit.
Yeah. How's that?
Just so this is the second time I've cheered, and I will say that the decision to go to the start line and take the monorail over when the monorail opens is the absolute right decision. I know that other people have other opinions, but if you want to be able to be on the rope and see your runners go by, then you need to be in Magic Kingdom at first, because when you get to Magic Kingdom and everyone gets off that monorail, it is like a mass. It's chaos as everyone tries to get their spot on the rope.
Mm-hmm. I will also just say, I know everyone wants to cheer at Main Street because they're imagining this magical moment with the person that they're cheering for, that it's very special for them. If you really want to help the person that you're cheering for, that is the worst spot to be. It's too congested in there. It's too crazy. You can't see anyone. We missed people along the way. Like Jen
all the time,
was supposed
every
to
time.
be there. Like every time. You can't pull over and talk to the person because it's like so congested.
And that is why we wanted to be where we were.
Yep, you guys were in the perfect spot.
Because there's a little opening there.
At Princess, we did the same thing. We wanted to be pretty much the minute you come into Magic Kingdom.
Yep.
From the
you
side,
are right there, so that it is before you turn to see the castle. Because the moment you see the castle, and I as a runner know this, like the moment you see the castle, nothing else exists besides you, the runners you're with, and the castle that you're trying to.
But it also
run
gets
to.
very tight there, as opposed to when you're coming in from the side.
It's crowded, it's loud,
and then
you
if you
get
hear
energy, so you want to run.
And then you hear someone yell your name, and you're over like on the other side, and you can't get over. All these people try to cross right in front because they're trying to get to their people. People are yelling names. It's chaos. So we were when you came into the gates of Magic Kingdom, because it was the side entrance over by Tony's, and Town Hall. We were right there, so that we were like almost the first thing you saw when you came into Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
So that was the perfect place. I would recommend that if you're going to cheer. we had so much fun. I mean, even just the energy as people come into Magic Kingdom and they're getting their phones out and they're preparing for like that moment that I'm talking about of like where you're about to turn.
Yep.
Like there's an extra, like this extra level of energy that happens that I love. I do agree with Diana. If you are not able to get to a place where, you know, it's not going to be super crowded, Main Street isn't the best of places. I think the TTC is actually a little bit better.
I was going to say that if you want to, if you want to talk to the person, if you want to swap out clothes, if you want to give them something, TTC is way better.
Or Florida Way.
Or Florida, yes.
Go over to Poly, get on that back road because there's not a lot of people on that back road.
There's not, but it's also much further in the race. So some people want their stuff a little sooner because
it's only a mile past Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to look at the map. But
maybe a mile and a half. Yeah.
Because they have to actually still go through all of Magic Kingdom too. So you have to remember they have the full time in there.
Might be like 2 miles.
Yeah. So it's much further down into the course. So it depends on what you're wanting.
Yeah, and I will say this because I haven't run the marathon since 2018. They added so much to Magic Kingdom. It was fantastic.
So
honestly, all that time. It's great.
It wasn't even just since 2018. Last year they didn't. I will not lie. I was super whatever about this course because you guys got to run under the ball in the morning, which I was. Yep. It's whatever. I was upset about it. And you got more of Magic Kingdom than I have ever done in the 5 years that I've done this race.
It was amazing. There was so much stuff in Magic Kingdom.
Very jealous.
Yeah,
they added a lot in there.
They added a ton. And it was great. It was great.
So that was great. We stayed all the way to the end. We watched the Balloon Ladies. I cried hysterically when they came through because they had the gates, they had the golf carts. I knew it was happening. I cried hysterically. I had trouble composing myself even afterwards because I just it's so heartbreaking. And then you're watching some of the people who are around the end and you know that they're already feeling defeated because of where they are. And it's just so emotional and heartbreaking. And it's just, there's so much. It's why I love and hate cheering all at the same time.
Yeah.
From there, we made our way over to Epcot. We were able to get into Epcot pretty much immediately. We already talked about Michael being too fast. I did get to catch him. And then we went to margaritas. So me and Marcia and my friends Kelly and Megan and then Matt Frumpa also joined us. We did our own little mini team margarita. All in all, between all of us, we figured out that we bought, I think it was 29 margaritas.
Wow.
Along the way and gave them out to all of the runners. Well, not all the runners, all the runners we knew and we're tracking. It was very stressful. I don't know that I need to do Team Margarita again.
I can't believe you guys said you do it.
Melt. We're watching some of them melt and we're like, this is what they get. They get a melty margarita. The margarita stands, they were stressing us out because they said they were opening at 10 and then suddenly they were like, no, we're not opening till 10:30. And then the other one was supposed to open at 10:30 and then all of a sudden they were like, we're not opening till 11. And we're like, you're pushing it back because of us. It's fine, but that's annoying.
Yeah.
So we were afraid we were going to miss people. But we had so much fun. I had the sign. People recognized me along the way. I had someone who stopped and said that Jeanette who stopped and said, I listened to the podcast. You got me through most of my training and then wanted to take a selfie. I was like, do I know your handle? She's like, no, I'm a lurker. It's okay.
Love it. Love the lurkers.
So that was.
Oh God. I had a moment going right before going to TTC as you're going through the parking lot. There's 3 women running next to me and they're like, oh, and she got hurt a couple months before the race and isn't running it. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Erin? I'm like, I'm not going to bother these people. So I keep running. And it comes out, they were, and I'm like, what the,
I think there was, we talked about that. I think it was Jen Lucy and a couple, anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's funny. But yes, so we had the sign and I had a couple people stop and yell, we'll run for, even though I didn't know who they were. And I
love that. I love that.
So it was super fun to have the sign with me. yeah, I had so much fun. We stayed again at Margaritas till the very end, and watched the balloon ladies go through. And then there's a handful of runners that they let go through afterwards, including the finish line. Yeah. At the finish line, it did turn out to be the last finisher, where she was kind of like leaning and not looking like she was having a great race.
I know. In retrospect,
through.
I'm a little sad because Mark and Megan didn't grab margaritas from you, and I should have grabbed one of theirs, but I should have double fisted it through the finish line.
Yeah, Kim Sharonoff, she actually ended up buying Mark and Megan's, and because they forgot that I told them that I was buying the margaritas the day before. So that's why they ran through.
Oh, God. Yeah, so I finished, and I always stay and then go up and cheer the final finishers because the finish line is very crowded.
Yeah.
And then maybe the last like 20 minutes, it empties out because like 95% of people are through. Mm-hmm. So that's when I kind of had, because I don't really want to fight through crowds. So I head over there then when it's super light and got to see the last 3 finishers actually. And the final finisher's coming through, and she's, that was a team in training.
Yeah.
They do such a great job with helping the people at the end. Just so fantastic. They, helped the last 3 through. Actually, the 2 who came through before the last lady were in worse shape than she was, I will say.
Oh, wow.
They hopped right into like chairs, like at the end.
Oh,
my
God.
Yeah, they were like right in the chairs. So then she came through and they were announcing her name. She had the lean going, she was 71. It was her birthday, actually.
Oh, I love that.
And it was her 20th marathon. So she clearly knows what she's doing. So anyway, we may have taken a video of this. It may, I've gotten a few views on TikTok, but all I will say is never, ever, 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 ever go on to a live course. You are finished. Don't go on to a live course. You are creating a dangerous situation for yourself, for the other runner, for the people working it. There is absolutely never an excuse, never a reason to go on to a live course when you are finished. Unless you are some medical professional and somebody is having a traumatic event, that is one thing. You are not to go on the course when it is finished.
Honestly, I'm going to say something controversial. Keep your kids off the course as well. I don't care that they cheered for you. Yeah. They don't get to come in that chute with you.
No.
I don't care.
It's dangerous. In a race this size, it's dangerous.
Yeah, I feel like in a small trail race or something like that, it's totally different.
Very different.
But we were talking about a Disney marathon where there are 20,000 people and there was like chaos and like just confusion to begin with.
Yeah. Maybe a local 5K, something like that.
Very different.
But not the Baltimore Marathon, not any of that.
Not any major race. Nope. Never. It is not your place to do it. It is not your place to whatever you think you're doing, do not go on a live course, period. Yeah. End of discussion. Like
hot takes, the Will Run Pro podcast.
Hot takes.
Because and like you can seek out and look at whatever you want, but I
don't know. Do we want to go there? Do you want to talk about what that woman did, or you just
I
want to
give all the credit to Pam, the final finisher, who was 71.
Yeah, we don't want to take away from her.
She deserves the shout
all
out
the credit
on her birthday for finishing and giving every ounce of everything. And what I said was, I think when I posted my recap, is like my favorite part of the weekend is cheering for the final finishers of the race. Yeah. That's to me.
Honestly,
there's nothing better than
it's why I love cheering.
Yeah.
As well as why I hate cheering, because it's also very like sad when you watch people get swept, but and you know that they worked really hard to get where they are. But yes, I being there for the last finisher, which I was at Princess, it's the same thing. Like it's the most amazing experience, and I would highly recommend it to everybody who is out there.
Yeah,
go cheer a finish line, and don't just leave halfway through. Stay till that last finisher,
the end,
because the emotion that is on that course as those last finishers are going through is palpable.
There's
like
nothing
it is
like it.
there. It's just like, oh God.
Yeah, because like I went from watching Tom after I had to yell at you guys to get in the correct line to get your medals.
He was he's like, I'm trying to get video of them, and I'm trying to yell at them to get into the line so I could take a video of Tom getting his medal. And like they're like, what?
Like, get over here. I need to take a video. But so after watching that, and that was amazing. And then I was able to go to watch the final finishers, which is also amazing. And it's just actually, I think Tori was there too.
Yeah, Tori was there. I saw a bunch of people along the way.
Just great.
Tori cheered in Magic Kingdom with the chases. So we saw them. I was out there with Maria. I was out there with Christy, Marsha. We had a big crowd. We had a decent crowd. I was standing next to Kelly from Sparkle the whole time. Yeah. She actually got a really great video of Tom and you guys coming into Magic Kingdom and us giving big hugs that I shared last night with you guys because she sent that over really to me. I got tons of great videos from people. I got a really great video of me giving Tom a hug at margaritas that I really appreciated. My friend Megan taking of us because Tom is sobbing, I'm sobbing, everyone's crying.
It was amazing.
It was a big mess, but I was just so swelled with pride.
Yeah. So any final thoughts from the race, Tom? I have some thoughts on the after party.
Oh God.
No. Just like I would like to see it be longer. That's all.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Like extra 2 hours or so people could enjoy it. But.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's just so intense. Like everything about the whole experience is very intense. Like the people and like the information overload and the courses and the scope. And it was interesting because like I went back to work this week and I'm telling people that have no context for this about it. And unless you have some sort of knowledge of it, it's really hard to fathom just what you experience, right? Like there's just too many people. Like there's so many people that we know that we've met like casually or we know, better. Like I'm not doing this justice at all, but like it's just so much. And there's so much to be thankful for and grateful for. And like, it's just, you have all these friends that you see at these events and it's such an intense, time to see each other. And you're giving hugs with people that live 5 states away that you only will see at this event, it's just so much. And it's really hard to put into words and properly describe it to people that really don't know what it's about.
Yeah, I agree. And coming home from something like that can almost be like this weird, deflating feeling of like you're on this giant high of like everything you've accomplished, hanging out with all these people that understand what you've been through or where you've been and what you've gone through. And then you come home and you go back to work and it's just like, oh, life.
People are like, how was your race? And you're like, it was good. And
it's just like this weird moment of like just this high coming crashing down.
Yeah. And race weekends are so hard as well because you see people you only really get to see during race weekends, but like everyone's tired, everyone's cranky, no one's getting enough sleep, no one feels like hanging out, like everyone's going to bed. I think we were in bed by 6:30 every night, or at least winding down every single night. So you're like so excited to see everyone, and then I know for me this week, I was just kind of reflecting on, I was like, God, I feel like I didn't get to spend like meaningful time with enough people.
100%.
The whole time where I was I wish I would have talked to this person longer, that,
Yeah.
I think I said to somebody, I feel like I saw everyone and no one. Because while I saw everyone, I physically saw everyone, I don't feel like I saw them because it was like this brief, like, oh my God, it's so great to see you. It's been so long. And then like, there's no like, it was such a weird weekend.
It's kind of like someone hands you a mixtape of your 100 favorite songs, but it's 10 seconds of each song. So like, it's like, oh my God, they're the Taylors. I love the Taylors. And then you turn around, there's Donna. And then you turn around, there's the Chases. And then you turn around and that, like, it's just,
it's like your head's on a swivel the whole weekend too.
Like, I want to spend time with you. I want to sit with you. I want to talk to you. I want to, you know what I'm saying? And but there's no meetups to be like, hey, after this, we're going to go to a brewery for 6 hours. And
that happens at like a Shamrock.
Like a Shamrock.
Or
we're going to hang out at the beach. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, It's just so short and intense, but it feels so long when you're in it.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't get to talk to Maria at all. And I felt like so bad when we were doing something on Sunday. I was like, oh, I like hugged Maria, but I didn't talk to her at all.
Yeah. Well, then to Michael's point, also, I did feel like, I feel like he was actually going to go where I said, I feel like we also got no time at the finish. I've never felt so rushed at the finish.
It was
I
so
usually
fast after the
feel
marathon.
like once you're done, like you get to hang out for like an hour or two. And then we didn't do that this year. Like it felt like immediately it was like, oh, the last buses are being called. What do you mean the last buses are being called? Like we just got here.
And there were still huge lines because we didn't go over and get those like finish line photos that we normally do.
Yeah.
Like we didn't do those at all because the bus, and there were huge lines.
So then I'm wondering, did Disney shorten the after party then? Because
it's possible.
It's not just me who felt like that. Like I've had this conversation several times.
Last year with Maria's, like there was nobody in those lines by the time we got to them.
Yeah.
And the place had pretty much cleared out.
Yeah, so I don't know whether they've like started shortening them. I don't know whether after, and I just didn't notice it. I don't know whether after COVID, because last year was really the first year as it was. So I don't know if I just didn't notice that since, because I remember in 2018, 2019, like we were at those tables and those after parties forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it just felt like very rushed this time.
Yeah, and we did. Tom and I were laughing because we were first bus, last bus every single day.
Yeah.
So for even the half marathon, it didn't clear out as much, but it definitely cleared out some by the time we left the half.
Yeah, it's just so weird. I don't know. That is a good point, though. Like
I feel like after marathon, it should really
celebration.
It should be a party, and it should. I think they're missing an opportunity for something bigger.
Yeah. And honestly, people would hang around. I mean, I drank a lot of beer the one time after one of the races because we were able to be there for so long. Because I remember going up more than once. This time, there wasn't a time to go up more than once because they were calling last buses.
Yeah, and the weather was so great. People would have hung out for a few hours, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Before we move on to the part 2 of this, does anybody have any final thoughts about our races?
Yeah, after the race, we did a celebration dinner at California Grill. I tried to nap. Everyone in our room was being too loud, so I couldn't nap. So when we got to California Grill, I was real nasty because I hadn't napped. And then we were going to meet the Weckerleys out for a drink. And I was like, I need to go to bed. So I apologized publicly to the Weckerleys for not wanting, but you didn't want to be around me because I was being
that
a
was
real
the day that we thought
a-hole.
That you guys might want to go to Jelly Rolls. And we went to Fantasmic, and then you guys were like, we're done. I was like, okay.
Nasty. I was not in a mood.
So Jelly Rolls was out.
My feet hurt. I didn't get to nap.
Yeah, we went to Storybook Dining with friends so that we could do Dopey pictures. I booped Grumpy's nose and he didn't really like it.
I saw it. It was so cute.
Yeah, it was fun. Then Michael and I went over to Fantasmic, watched Fantasmic. We saw Frumpa for a little while. Again, the whole you saw everyone and no one. Frumpa was down there the whole weekend, and I saw him for 3 seconds on Wednesday, literally 3 seconds, and then we spent 25 minutes with him maybe in Hollywood Studios, and that was the entire time I saw him.
No, we ate with him after marathon too.
After marathon?
At Connections Cafe.
Oh.
And
I only saw him at the meetup, I think is the only time I saw him. And then on course.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him very little, though. I did see him very little. He was cheering with me, but I just feel like as far as we didn't spend any park time. We didn't do any anything like that. That's more what I meant. We didn't get to spend quality time with people this weekend.
I got you.
Right. But yeah. Anything else I've got to say can go in the next portion.
No.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure something will pop up.
Other than if you saw me and I was a nightmare, I apologize. I'm tired.
I pleasantly was surprised that I was not as nightmarish as I expected to be. But we were in bed by 7:30 every night.
I was crankier than usual.
Which was the first time I've ever done that on a race weekend. I did a good job.
I tried Beverly for the first time.
Ooh,
It's great, isn't it?
That's the worst thing in the world, and I had no idea what it was about.
I like it.
I can't believe that's the first time you've ever had it.
I honestly thought it was grape soda.
Oh no!
It's terrible.
Michael likes it. My friend Sarah likes it. There's a few people out there that enjoy it. Sarah was Beverly as a costume somewhat recently. I forget which race that was, where she had like a blue shirt with like bubbles all over it.
John Beal was the Beverly Spout
That's right.
year, a few years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm super proud of myself, but much more so, I'm proud of everybody else that completed this. And there's so many people. They all, ran their own races and had their own struggles. And
yeah,
I
was going to fawn over people in our next segment.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, this is the last thing I'll say. Because we've all recently rewatched The Lord of the Rings. Like, for every Frodo that gets all of the attention, there is an army of Samwise Gamgees that get them 99.9% to Mount Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And all they have to do is toss that ring in the fire. Diana is my Samwise Gamgee. And she basically put me on her shoulders and carried me the entire way, even though I was on my feet. So, I don't know. Take that for what it's worth.
When we were at dinner on, what was that, Saturday night after the half, Erin asked me how things were going, and I said, I've been yelled at for 3 days. And I didn't feel well.
Look.
Running together is hard. We've done it.
No. We don't do it a lot.
Yeah.
It can be, you can get into messy situations running together.
Can you? Oh, boy.
Yep.
We can skip something good because this is all of our something goods.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I don't even have anything. I don't think we've watched anything. And I'm not talking about Emily in Paris because it's garbage and neither of those men would like her.
Look, I'm only gonna put it out there. The third season of Outer Banks has a release date.
It does. Michael's very excited.
Yes.
So get ready.
I don't have it in me.
I'm ready.
For Topper or Gage or whatever the hell their names are. All right. So yeah, we can close this out. Thank you everybody for listening. If we saw you even briefly down in Disney, we loved seeing you. We love everybody that's associated with this podcast. Congratulations to everybody. The next part will be all about our listeners' experiences. I'm not going to do a quote because I can't find one. So this is Tom for Erin, Michael, and Diana, and we will talk later.
Bye.